The finish! Giannis Antetokounmpo with one of the most iconic performances in the storied history of the NBA Finals. And the slam from Antetokounmpo! The long wait has ended after a half century. The Milwaukee Bucks are NBA champions once again.
I wanted to do it here in the city. I wanted to do it with these guys. Did it.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Hey, welcome in. The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. It's our Monday. Took a day off yesterday.
You earned it, man.
I don't know if I did. Wasn't convenient. So there's that. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. And I tell you what, I was actually disappointed to be off yesterday, mainly because there was so much to talk about coming out of the weekend. Baker looks dominant in training camp. Joe Burrow, not so much. I love to brag about that anytime that I have the opportunity to do so. But we'll talk about the camps. And, I want to get into the debate, not really debate, but the conversation of good offense versus good defense. There's always a way to spin it. I mean, that's my favorite thing about sports talk and really any kind of debate and talk in general is you could shape anything to fit your narrative and your point, and that's what we'll get into in a moment. I don't believe the Bengals are as bad offensively as what they have looked in camp, so I will soften the blow by saying I don't really buy too much of the struggles early on, but at what point do you start to get concerned when you start seeing the same reports come out of camp about the offensive struggles? I don't want to hear that, well, the Bengals have a really good defense. Well, the Browns have an even better defense, and Baker's throwing just fine against that defense. So I'll leave it at that. We'll get into that coming up around the corner. Quinn Ewers forgoes his senior year of high school in Texas, and he enrolls early at Ohio State. What does that mean for the Buckeyes quarterback room, which was already crowded and already talented, and now it's even more crowded and even more talented? We'll talk about some of the, as crazy as this sounds, roadblocks ahead for Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes, because although this is a good problem to have, the word problem still exists in what I just talked about, and we'll get into that coming up here in a moment. AFC North quarterback edition of the Over-Under with Kev Nash coming up around the corner. Let's see. Your team, Florida State, by the way, apparently is, they want to date the hot chick too. And so does Clemson. And at least maybe. There's reports out there refuting some of that. So we'll get to that. My list is just, he's being off yesterday. Let's see. Oh, yeah. The Browns extend Nick Chubb. Like that move. He'll be a free agent again he'll be a free agent again at 29 years old. In fact, I love this deal from Andrew Berry. In fact, how about this number right here?
What? You like a running back getting paid?
I like when you look at what Christian McCaffrey's being paid for the Panthers, Andrew Berry was able to lock up Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt for the same amount of time on the contract as what McCaffrey's getting with the Panthers for the same price. You're getting two dominant running backs for the price of one. And
that's what happens when you pay them early. Pay them early. Yep. Stop messing around and putting a franchise tag on them so they get paid so much money later on. That's my only point. Like, you do it to yourself. So that's good management right there. That's understanding how the game is played. So he's going to be 29 at the end of the contract. All likelihood he won't be with the Browns. But more importantly, you're getting him at his best, and you're paying him for what he already did and what he's still capable of achieving. Now, do I believe that Christian McCaffrey is still going to be a very good player most of that contract? Yes. But towards the back end of that contract, he probably won't be. You know what I mean? So not everybody out there is Adrian Peterson, who can play running back in the NFL for freaking 15 years. So
that's the thing. Really, we don't compliment. When I think of the Browns, and let's just open up with this, because that extension for Nick Chubb I found very important, because what it's doing too is signaling just how much of a turnaround the front office has had. We spend so much time talking about the improvement of Baker Mayfield and so much the improvement of the offense, but all of that is, you bring in Kevin Stefanski, all of that is really the culture that everyone believed that the previous GM was implementing. But you look at what Andrew Berry has done since coming in and stabilizing this team, at the hiring of Kevin Stefanski, extending Kareem Hunt, now getting this deal done with Nick Chubb. And of course, everyone is saying, look, they are prioritizing so many other pieces over Baker Mayfield. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm the biggest Baker Mayfield supporter out there, but but I think that right now the Browns, and I normally don't say this, I thought that the Cowboys made a mistake by not prioritizing quarterback over running back and others, but there's a lot of similarities between the Browns and the Cowboys from when Dak Prescott and Zeke were drafted years ago to this group right here, because you have Baker and Chubb who were drafted at the same time as well. Very similar kind of layout, because you have a dominant offensive line. The quarterback success is based on the running back success, and the running back success is based on the offensive line success. Based on the fallout from the Dallas Cowboys and how quickly things kind of went downhill, yes, it had to do with Dak's injury last year, but keep in mind they were 1-3 to start the year. Even with Dak, they weren't solid to start the season, even with Dak Prescott. That's not an indictment on him. That's just how many holes the team had. When that offensive line started struggling and going downhill for the Cowboys, Zeke's production went downhill, which then impacted Dak, and then Dak's numbers expand, because then they have to rely on his arm more. I see a lot of parallels between the Cowboys and the Browns, and that's not a good thing as far as where the Cowboys are at right now. But if the Browns and the front office continue taking care of business, making sure they're locking up the main pieces of the core moving forward, I see a lot of bright things in the Browns' future moving forward, not just for a year or two, but for the long-term success of this team. I'm just curious, though, because we saw Dak Prescott, who I wasn't very high on, get better, and he got better as weapons went away. The offensive line got worse, Zeke's production went away, and Dak's production went up. I'm not sure if that's Baker Mayfield, which is why I am fine with the Browns not being in any kind of hurry to get a deal done. I saw today that the Buffalo Bills, that they're in light negotiations right now with Josh Allen, but they did say that if they don't get a deal done by week 1, they are scrapping negotiation or extension talks by week 1, which I think is smart. You don't want that cloud hanging over you for the entire season of, if he gets hurt, if he doesn't get hurt, if he has a great year, if he has a bad year. I just think it's smart to scrap some of those talks, but let's be honest, the negotiation is ongoing. Every time Baker Mayfield steps foot on the field, that's a negotiation. Like your play is the negotiation. Same thing with Josh Allen. I like that the Browns are being patient and they're not just trying to get married right away to Baker Mayfield, the first quarterback that has given them any kind of success since returning to Cleveland. But I really do like the extension to Nick Chubb to 29 years old.
Absolutely. It's a good pickup for the Browns to lock him up. And like you talked about before, you're going to have him when he's still young. You know what I'm saying? It's so crazy to think that a person 29 years old is old, but that's how it is in the NFL, especially at that running back position. But you talked about Buffalo and the Josh Allen situation. If I'm Buffalo and if I'm the Ravens, or matter of fact, anybody out of that draft class that was drafted in the first round, Baker included, I'm trying to get that deal done before that cap goes up, because whoever is last, and we've been talking about this, is going to get paid the most. And that number is going to be crazy. So if you lock them up now and you get them into a good contract, something reasonable, then later on you'll have more money to spend on those other parts, those other offensive linemen, other weapons, other defensive players on the team. I would be trying my best to lock whomever, if I'm the Browns, Bills, or Ravens, I'm trying to lock that up before the season starts, man, because the way they're talking about on ESPN and everything like that, the way that cap is going to just blow up next year, like, I don't want that big cap number out there and I have a free agent quarterback, because that free agent quarterback is going to be like, yeah, I want Patrick Mahomes money and then some, because, well, it's just the cap and that's the price of paying a piper. So that's what's going to happen. Whoever is last is going to make just as much, if not more, than Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I'm not looking to sign Baker just to sign him. Last year was a great year, only 8 interceptions. I mean, to see really the improvement in the turnover game, just for him to be able to seem more in sync and in control of the offense. I get it. I love Baker Mayfield, but I'm totally fine. I disagree. I'm totally fine with them not rushing into a deal just because, oh man, the cap might go up. We might have to pay more for him. If Baker builds on what he did last year, I'm fine with them paying more for him at that point because he's worth it. What I don't want to have happen is them overpay him now and then him take a step back. And then we start seeing what we kind of saw with Carson Wentz regressing as his career went on. Same thing with Goff with the Rams. What I don't want to have happen is the Browns be married to a quarterback that they thought was the guy because they haven't had one since returning to Cleveland, and then overpaying and then now having to overcompensate in other areas. That's where my concern would be if I'm Cleveland. And I think they share that same concern, which is why there's a lot of pros to what you just said of getting the deal done early. But what happens if you find yourself in a situation like the Rams where you get a huge deal done and then he never lives up to that hype? Same thing.
You try to find somebody crazy like the Lions and give trade for them.
I was going to say, both examples right there, those teams did find a way to get out from underneath it. The Rams got out of underneath a bad quarterback contract and a bad running back contract because they moved on from both Jared Goff already and got one heck of a return. And same thing with their running back. And why is his name?
Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley. Is he still with the Falcons, by the way?
They cut him.
Is he on anyone's roster right now?
I don't believe Todd Gurley's on the team
Interesting.
right now.
Interesting. So there's that. But Browns fans got to feel pretty good about that again. And they're just continuing. I mean, they already have Myles Garrett wrapped up for a few more years. Same thing with Nick Chubb. Same thing with Kareem Hunt. Denzel Ward probably up next. I'd be working on that offensive line, because getting Baker Mayfield taken care of and then not having an offensive line, that doesn't make any sense to me. So get the offensive line locked up next with Teller and those guys and see kind of where the Browns go from there. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. We do have a new call-in number, 518-1410. 518-1410. That is the number to call in and be a part of the discussion here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Kev, we're going to step away for a few moments. Bengals fans, I want to talk a little training camp for the Bengals and the Browns and other teams around the National Football League. Good defense or bad offense, depending on, and again, my Facebook irritated quite a few people over the weekend because Paul Dehner Jr., by the way, tweeted it, not me. I just shared his post.
How many dots?
And it was funny. I did 5 dots, and I didn't even think about it. I think it was Shaw or somebody that said, again with the dots. And I'm like, well, if you can't handle dots, then I don't know what to tell you.
3, man. 3 is the max.
Good defense or bad offense? That's the question I have about the reports coming from Bengals camp. And again, things have not been in sync. Look, I was wrong. I thought that the key to the success for the Bengals offense was of course, the offensive line. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe the problem stems deeper than just what they have up front. And that's what I want to get into on the other side. You have the Browns who look sharp in camp. The Bengals do not look sharp in camp. I keep hearing good offense, bad offense, good defense. Is that the simple tale of the tape out of Bengals camp? And how long into camp before these same reports that keep coming out about the offensive struggles start to concern you Bengals fans? And I will say the one excuse I will not accept, well, we got a really good defense. Well, Baker has an even better defense that he's going up against in camp, and he looks sharp. I don't want to hear that. We'll discuss next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Your weather forecast: low tonight of 60 and partly cloudy, high tomorrow of 83 and mostly sunny. I'm Chris Harden for 1410 ESPN Radio.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Goodyear believes in the power of moving forward. No matter if it's on the track, the court, or the field, movement makes us want to be more. It pushes us to go further, to show the world what we can do. Movement has the unique ability to change our perspective, to challenge us, to work for a better tomorrow. Movement can even bring us together when we're still, because if we're focused on the next move, we don't have to worry about what's behind us. Goodyear, more driven.
Welcome to another episode of Ask Tomorrow. I'm your host, Tomorrow. Better sleep makes for a better me, and Casper's Cooling Collection has everything hot sleepers need to keep cool all night long, like the Wave Hybrid Snow Mattress for over 12 hours of cooler sleep. Okay, next caller.
Hi, Tomorrow. I need to break up with my boyfriend. Any suggestions?
Get him a breathable mattress protector. It helps hot sleepers stay cool.
I think I'll just go with flowers.
Yeah, none of my exes appreciated the mattress protector either. Casper, love your tomorrow.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Greatness. It's not born of coincidence. It's not a product of luck. It's forged through dedication, drills, and the acquisition of new skills. Wanting won't get you there, but sweat equity just might.
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street wants to wish the Dayton Flyers Red Scare the best of luck in their journey through the basketball tournament. Wear red, be loud, go Flyers!
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
There's something special about a sit-down family meal together. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, we couldn't agree more. That's why we're making it easy with our 8-piece family meal for only $22.99. Enjoy a classic family meal without the hassle. It includes 8 mixed pieces of Famous Recipe Chicken, 2 large sides, and 4 fluffy biscuits. At Lee's, making your family's meal special is what we do best. Get a home-style meal made easy with our 8-piece family meal for only $22.99. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hey there, it's CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger with an inside track on a company that could save your family over $800 a year on a basic service everyone needs, H2O Wireless. If you're with Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, H2O Wireless gives you the exact same coverage as one of those, but at half the price. That's right, H2O Wireless uses the same network, same towers. You can even keep your phone and number because switching is as easy as swapping a SIM card. Right now, get unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data for just $36 a month. And if you want a new phone, H2O Wireless has huge savings on the latest iPhones and Androids. Here's what you need to do. Pick up your phone and dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O. When you do, you'll save 50% off your first month. Again, dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O, and your family could start saving over $800 a year today.
Whether it's next day delivery or getting involved in their local communities, Napa goes above and beyond to serve you because their motor never quits. That's Napa know-how.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream live at wingam.com.
518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to jump in on the conversation. So I wanted to come back to this. No, I'm not going to beat up on the Bengals too much, but just because what I'm saying is bad results from camp doesn't mean that I'm bashing the Bengals. I'm curious Bengals fans' concerns on this. So Paul Dehner Jr. over the weekend, and we lightly touched on this on Friday, Kev, the struggles for the Bengals offense have been duly noted. I mean, especially for camp. 2 attempts at the Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase deep ball today on Friday. Of course, both failed. The first saw Burrow underthrow a shot down the sideline. Chase had run past Ewers, who broke it up. The next, Burrow dropped a dime and Chase ran open on a post, and then he dropped it. Offense just not seeming to be in sync. Some more reports coming from over the weekend, Kev, that basically just, highlighted the struggles continuing. Brutal day for the Bengals offense and Joe Burrow. And then in parentheses, it says, or a great day for the defense, depending on your optimism. Now, this is a tweet from Bengals reporter Paul Dehner Jr. Ton of incompletions, a little in the run game, lots of drops. Pretty much nothing went right other than some spectacular catches by Trent Taylor and Trenton Irwin later on in those practices. Now, I put all those out because right away people are like, I saw the spin that Bengals fans are putting on it. Oh, we have a great defense. We have a great defense. But a couple reports from Browns camp, on the first day that fans were allowed to attend, they were in for a treat as they got to see Baker Mayfield, just perform, complete pass after pass, including deep passes down. Him and OBJ have looked in sync. It's the most in sync that they've looked since he's arrived in Cleveland. And then, of course, there was a day on Friday, I guess this past Friday, Baker had quite a few incompletions, did not look as sharp, but has looked in sync ever since then. Baker Mayfield had a very good camp so far. And again, we're 1 week in. Bengals fans, relax. I'm always looking for a reason to jump on you guys. I'm not doing that today, but to sit here and act like I'm making the struggles up, don't be a whiny crybaby. Don't be a fool here. Like I'm bringing to light this because Baker's had a few tough practices, but he's also had a lot of really good practices. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to hold Joe Burrow to the same standard of some other quarterbacks who have been in the league for a few years. I know it's technically year 2 for Joe Burrow, Kev, but let's be honest. He's still a rookie. He hasn't even played a complete full first season. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way at all. I mean, that's common sense. He's still technically a rookie. He went down in game 10. All right. Never finished his rookie season. Just really got cleared within a week of training camp starting as far as being, deemed, free to do, to participate at 100%. So it's not as if he has just been, a part of every drill, every practice, everything going on since he went down in week 10 last year. That's the reality of it. You do bring in Jamar Chase. Here's my concern for Joe Burrow in year 2. Kev, think of all the hype around the draft. It was about them not taking an offensive lineman with that first-round pick in Penei Sewell, and they take Jamar Chase. You know how much pressure Baker felt when they got OBJ? A ton. You see how it changed the dynamic of the offense and the way it looked? And I think that this situation with Jamar Chase could potentially be even worse because if Jamar Chase, and I've said this before, I hate when people say, look how dominant they were in college. That was college. It's much different in the pros, and it's already showing to be much different in the first couple days of camp. So when people say things like, well, he's still trying to get used to his new receivers. One new receiver, and Jamar Chase, who I was told the whole reason that they overlooked the concept of taking an offensive lineman with the first round pick was because of the chemistry and how much in sync him and Jamar Chase were from their days at college. I think that still exists. I still think it's not so much Joe Burrow trying to adjust to Chase, Kev. I think it's Chase trying to adjust to the NFL.
Right.
We see this every year. Some receivers, the most hyped receiver coming into the draft rarely is the main guy. That's why Justin Jefferson took over. We didn't talk too much about Justin Jefferson heading into the season, but boom, he hit the ground running. So I say all of this to say I'm not worried about the Bengals offense yet. I think it'll click. In fact, today's the first day in pads. I think today is really the first day you start to get an idea of who these teams are because some guys, you don't know who they are until they get punched in the mouth. Well, how is Jamar Chase going to handle being hit in the mouth? How is the defense going to handle having to hit a big receiver like Jamar Chase? You're not going to get hit a ton in practice, but early on you will as you're trying to get accustomed to, the contact in the NFL. So Bengals fans, brace yourselves. I'm not concerned. But I am going to highlight the flaws and deficiencies during training camp. Same thing with Cleveland. My concern is this, Kev. You want to know my nightmare scenario?
Do tell.
The Bengals struggle during camp. The Browns kick ass during camp. Just like the Browns kicked ass during camp in Baker's second year. And then all of a sudden, things weren't so hot in the regular season. They struggled in camp last year, did the Browns. And then all of a sudden, a couple weeks into the season, everything clicked. Was it because OBJ goes out? I don't know. But I brought up the Jamar Chase thing of impacting Burrow to a certain degree because last year Burrow was just playing with nothing to lose. There was no expectations last year. It was just go out, throw the ball around, be free, learn the game, right? Tyler Boyd, you got T. Higgins, you had some toys to work with, but there was no expectations. It was if you struggled, you had a bad O-line and you didn't have good weapons around you. And if you prevailed, it's, man, look what everything he did with that bad O-line and with the bad weapons. So my concern here in year 2, Kev, is he's facing the pressure of coming off of a very dangerous injury, an injury that 10 years ago you would have been out probably this year as well, right? I think Joe Burrow is facing a ton, and I know every Bengals fans like to think of him as Superman, but it's okay if he struggles because I think a lot of it has to do with you're a little mentally out of it coming off of an injury like that. You're a little today's the first day of pads. How concerned do you think he is every time someone falls around his legs? Comes around him, bracing for contact. I think, how confident is he stepping into throws as contact is coming his way? There's a lot of reasons as to why Burrow's going to be a little shaky early on. But I also think Jamar Chase could be why he's shaky early on because I think he feels the pressure of, man, we bring him in. There's a lot of talk. We have to be in sync. We have to pick up where we left off at LSU. And that's on you, Bengals fans. That's what I'm going to say. That's your fault. You fools who are trying to talk about him as if he's a top 5 receiver in the league before even stepping foot on an NFL field. That's that weirdness of that fan base that I always talk about. I'll never understand that mindset. Be excited about the new get, but stop trying to put him up with the upper echelon of receivers in the league because you don't know who the hell he is as a rookie. So last thing on this. My concern is not the offense not being in sync. It's the reasons for why they're not going to be in sync. Is there a way for Zach Taylor to fix that? I believe the same pressures that Baker felt with getting OBJ are the same pressures that Burrow is facing right now with Jamar Chase. And that is, rather than being free-flowing in the offense and just throwing the ball to whoever's open, now you have that number one target. Now you have a guy that you have to make sure you get the ball because you could be successful, but if Jamar Chase doesn't pan out, now the front office looks like fools. Now they look crazy for not taking Penei Sewell. Now they look crazy for not taking the O-lineman from Notre Dame. So I think there's a lot of pressure for Jamar Chase to pan out. You just used your number 5 overall pick on a wide receiver. It's not like you picked him in the second round or with a late first round pick. You selected him number 5 overall. He has to work out. And I think that pressure, it can fold him, Jamar Chase. I think it can hurt Burrow's development, and I think it changes the dynamic of the offense. We saw it with OBJ in Cleveland, and my concern is maybe that's what's going on right now because all the reports are on the emphasis of the Burrow to Chase connection.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing everybody wants to know about, obviously, because their time at LSU and him being a top 5 pick this last draft. I mean, you want to see him make an impact. My thing about this early in camp is the defense should be ahead of the offense. If you're coming out here and you're basically playing 7-on-7 football and you're throwing dimes and you're making your defense look terrible, that's alarming to me because I know it's not real football yet, but the defense should be ahead of the offense. But the reports we're getting from Bengals camp is overthrows and drop passes. That is more like kind of alarming and everything like that.
That's skill set things.
Yeah. So like that's what I will worry about. I will worry about drop passes because timing, you can work on that. You can work on timing and everything like that. That's what practice is for, is work on timing and everything like that. But drop wide open passes, I have a problem with that, especially coming from the team that I root for who dropped about 1 million passes last year. Like I'm a stickler for catching the ball. Like real talk, like not to be talking like crazy, like I was like this super athlete in high school and everything like that. But, our high school coach told us, the wide receivers and everything like that, you have 2 jobs, catch the ball and block. The quarterback has 1 million jobs. The offensive line has 1 million jobs. The running backs have 1 million jobs. You have 2, catch and block. If you can't catch and you ain't going to block, you ain't going to play. So for wide receivers in the NFL, I look at it the exact same way. Catch the ball and block. That's all you got to do. You don't have to do anything else. And matter of fact, as a wide receiver, you don't even got to be like super fast and be an impact player. Look at Anquan Bolden. He was slow as molasses, but he always got open. He always caught the ball. He caught the ball and blocked. So for the Bengals, that's what I would be worried about with Chase right now. Can he work on it? Absolutely. Can he get on the jugs machine and everything like that? Can he make the adjustment to the NFL game? Absolutely, if he works hard enough at it. But wide open passes? No. We're not dropping drag routes, bro. We're not dropping out routes. We're not dropping those. Are we dropping passes that are contested? Yeah, it's football. The other dude's gonna make a play, but we're not dropping uncontested passes. That's a no-no. That's something that you can't stand for as a fan base, and it's something that I didn't stand for rooting for my team last year when they were dropping passes all over the place. So,
and I will say, if this is a headline a week from now, I'll be concerned. Bengals fans thought that I was I really don't have an issue with the reports coming out of Bengals camp because the reporters I've talked to that cover the team say, yeah, there's been a lot of positive too. He goes, but all fans look at the negative right away is, oh man, because now everyone knows all summer Bengals fans have told me why they think they're going to be good. But the reality is you don't know what flaws you have outside of your traditional flaws over the years at O-line until you step foot out on the field. And these are some of the things coming out that the reason this is headlines, because people think I'm just saying this to hate on Bengals fans. I'm not. The reason I'm pointing this out is because I was told by all Bengals fans out there that, man, the reason they'll have a chance to win is because of Burrow and Chase. Well, the biggest flaws that they've had offensively early in camp one weekend has been Burrow and Chase. But those are issues, chemistry things that'll get ironed out as the season, as camp moves on. But if we get to that first preseason game, and I don't even know, the thing is preseason games aren't going to matter because Burrow may not play at all, or it might be one snap, and they're really not going to try. I wouldn't want to drop him back against defenses in the preseason as you're trying to come along. I wouldn't play him. I want to see him play, even if it's for one possession or one series. I just still don't want to see him. I don't want to see him getting injured. I really don't. I want Browns and Bengals as healthy as possible when they play. I want the smack talking to go way past week 10. I want it all out there.
So you wouldn't play him at all during preseason?
No, not during the games. I think as long as he's going hard in practice, that's all that matters. I mean, my thing is people overreacted to when the ownership came out and said, we're not going to play him during preseason games. What? I can't believe it's preseason. Let him go. It's preseason. Exactly. We're talking one series, maybe two. I don't think that's stunting his growth at all in regards to that. I do think, I mean, look, they're not going to be a playoff team this year. So I don't see the need to force him out there. This whole season is going to kind of be a progression year where you want to see them take that next step, but you don't want to hit fast forward on that and skip steps either. That hurt the Browns in year 2 of Baker. I don't want to see the Bengals do that in year 2 of Burrow. Last thing, well, not last thing, but real quick to rewind. I have no concerns about the reports coming out of Bengals camp yet. They just put pads on for the first time today. I think Burrow's kind of shaken off some of that hesitancy, stepping up in the pocket. That could explain some of the underthrows that we've, read reports of. I'm not concerned. If this is heading into week 1 and these things, if we're the last couple days at camp and these are the reports we're getting, then I would be concerned. Defensively, I don't know if it's good defense or bad offense. It could be a combination of both. But the Bengals, they have good playmakers in their secondary as well. So when you made a good point, you said the defense is going to be ahead of the offense. They are, and you have new offensive pieces that they're trying to, adapt. I just think that defense is going to be ahead of the offense for a while. So, like I said, a week from now, if I'm getting these same reports from Paul Dehner Jr., then I'll probably be obnoxious Kinner. For right now, I'm going to be tolerable Kinner when it comes to the Bengals in camp, because I'm not going to lie to you. Baker's having a great camp. And I still don't feel good I'm not willing to be as cocky about him heading into year 2, because he has one bad series, one bad game in the preseason, takes negative confidence into the regular. I think there's a lot of pressure on Baker this year, because it's not just about the team succeeding. Now it's about picking up where you left off. This is a whole other new area of focus for Baker. It's not trying to win. It's okay. Now you've already won. So now you got to go to that next level. And can he do that? I'm concerned about Baker heading into year. I'm more concerned about Baker than I am Burrow, because I think Baker has room to grow, or Burrow has room to make mistakes. Baker doesn't. The margin of error for Baker is very slim. Burrow can make mistakes along the way as long as he keeps showing progression along the way. So how is that, Bengals fans?
How do y'all feel about Joe Burrow sitting out all of preseason? I'm up in the air about it, man, because I don't necessarily want his first time being in a real game, like for all the marbles, like, or even just like taking snaps, like even if it is a situation where like, all right, we run it 3 times and we punt, like a situation like that. I would want him to get out there to kind of more or less break the ice in a preseason game when it's not for real, because the first snap he's going to take is going to be in week 1. That's going to be a real game. And the last time he took a real snap was the season-ending injury. So I want him to get those jitters out and get those out in a game that really doesn't matter in a preseason game, even if it is just a couple handoffs or, some bootleg dump offs to the tight end and things of that nature, just to get the feeling back of being out there on a real football field as opposed to practice. So that's where I'm at with it. I understand that he's coming off an injury, but guess what? A whole bunch of other guys are coming off injuries and they're going to be out there playing. So I would put him out there, especially in that, maybe not even in that real third game where everybody plays that third game very seriously. Maybe
that's technically the last game this year, right? Yeah, it's only 3. I think it's only 3 preseason games. So does that change how you approach it? Do you maybe play more serious? Like, I'm curious how that's going to change the approach to some of these preseason games. Again, it's preseason. Don't mock us. But in all seriousness, for some teams like the Bengals,
it matters.
It does matter. The Buccaneers, it doesn't. Don't play Tom Brady. Don't play Aaron Rodgers if you're the Packers. You're fine. You know what you have there.
Right.
The Bengals, you kind of don't know what you have right now. You know what you want, but you don't know what you have. Same thing with Cleveland. You know what you had last year. I still don't think you know what you have because this is year 2 of Stefanski. This isn't year 4 or 5 where it's a bunch of veterans. This is a bunch of young players who are still coming along and gelling together, and that's what's going to be key. All I know is I love the NFL season.
You want Baker playing in preseason?
Limited, yes. I just think it's different with Burrow. You have more to lose with Burrow. Not that the Browns don't have anything to lose, but I feel better about them reinforcements around him than I do about Burrow as far as protection and everything else. I already know. You're breaking NBA news. The geriatric Lakers adding. Well, I'll let you talk about it. What's going on? Your Portland Trailblazers didn't like the old Carmelo Anthony, huh?
Well, he's a baller. Don't get it twisted. He's a baller. Top 10 scorer in NBA history. My guy, the one and only Carmelo Anthony, has signed a 1-year contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. And let me say this, because I'm sure you know how we get into our NBA discussions and everything like this. Let me say this. I don't like the Lakers. This has absolutely nothing to do with LeBron James. I didn't like the Lakers when they had Shaq. I didn't like the Lakers when they had Kobe and Paul Gasol. I didn't like the Lakers when they had Magic Johnson, for goodness sakes. So the fact that one of my favorite players of all time, Carmelo Anthony, is now a Los Angeles Laker irks me to the core. It irks me to the core that he's a Los Angeles Laker. And not only he's a Los Angeles Laker, but he's a Los Angeles Laker at the end of his career. And now I have to root for the Lakers because I want him to win a championship. That's what I want for my guy. So I have to root for the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't even know if I can do it. I can be perfectly honest. I don't think I can do it. That's how much I don't like the Lakers. And like I said before, this has nothing to do with Kobe, Shaq, Bron, Magic Johnson. I just don't like the Lakers. I've never liked the Lakers. And Melo, you're my dude. It's going to take me some time. I mean, I rooted for the Denver Nuggets, for goodness sakes, when he was there. I rooted for the Denver Nuggets. I rooted for the New York Knickerbockers. It was easy to root for him with Portland. Hey, they got my guy, Dame Dollar. They got CJ. CJ's from Ohio. Okay, I'm down with this. I even rooted for OKC, for goodness sakes. I stayed up late to watch OKC Thunder games without Kevin Durant. I even watched the Rockets and James Harden's over dribbling butt. But the Lakers.
It's the Justin Kinder show. You could say ass.
No, man. Never knows who's listening, man. Streets are watching. You know Coach Bayham's in town, by the way.
Nope, it can't.
Don't you dare. I
can't.
Don't you dare.
Dang it.
Don't you dare. So for my guy to be on probably the team that I can't stand the most in the NBA, it hurts. It hurts, man. It hurts a lot. And they also signed Malik Monk from the Charlotte Hornets. So
there's that.
Yeah, man. So my guy, he's a Los Angeles Laker. I mean, it was bad enough that LeBron went to the Lakers. Like, LeBron went to the Lakers. Like, ugh. And now LeBron and Melo with the Lakers. Double ugh.
Breaking news. Dwayne Wade coming out of retirement. I'm joking, by the way.
Chris Bosh, everybody. The whole draft class of 03 are coming out.
All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Good stuff on the Bengals and Browns. More NBA free agent discussion coming up around the corner. But see, Bengals fans, that wasn't that bad. I'm seeing where my favorite comment came from. Of course, I lost it because there's a lot of comments coming in. So that's always a good thing, of course. But look, the bottom line is that right now, I'm not concerned about the reports coming out of Bengals camp. In fact, let me just see. Maybe there's some positive reports coming out of camp right now. Let's look it up. We got Paul Daner Jr. Let's look up the old Twitter and see if we have so many updates as far as what's going on there right now. Nope, just basically, Anthony Munoz is at camp, chatting with Mike Brown and Zach Taylor. So a couple pictures there. Everyone's in pads, but no update on any of the execution of the offense right now thus far. But by the way, like I said, I'm not concerned. And Bengals fans, you shouldn't be either. But in a week from now, I'd be a little concerned, mainly just because it's just toss and catch, right? Like, that's the easy part. There is no pressure on you. There is no one trying to tackle you. But a week from now, you better iron out some of those deficiencies within the offense. But a lot of good stuff on the Facebook and the YouTube feed. You can listen, stream, and now watch. Listen at 1410 Wing AM. Stream us at wingam.com. And you can watch us on Facebook and on YouTube. Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show. YouTube, ESPN 1410 Wing AM. Search ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel and watch us live and jump in the comment section and share your concerns. Good offense, bad offense, good defense. Just, a couple of early days into camp. I mean, Bengals fans, are you concerned? How many Bengals fans actually agree with me? I think for the first time in a while, we have a Bengals topic that I have a lot of Bengals fans agreeing with me. It's early. I wouldn't be concerned. But I kind of enjoy talking to the sky is falling people, too. I want to know from those people. Are Bengals fans, are you concerned about the reports coming out of camp about the struggles early on? My biggest takeaway is your only excuse as to why the Bengals are struggling in camp should come from it's early. But if your argument is well, they have a good defense, I'm gonna stop you right there. The Browns have a better defense, and Baker Mayfield is playing just fine in camp against a much better defense, probably against the best secondary in football. So I don't want to hear that as an excuse. The only excuse I want to hear from you is it's just early. It'll be fine, because that's what I was expecting, and that's really the only good, tolerable answer, at least in my opinion. All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. We'll have your Facebook and YouTube social media reaction. Catch us on Twitter as well, at 1410 Kinner or at 1KevNash. Kev Nash drowning in his sorrows of watching Carmelo Anthony become a Los Angeles Laker. We'll be back in a moment. 518-1410. That's the number to call if you want to jump in on the conversation as well. We'll be right back.
Why?
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
One night with Emmy Lou Harris and Los Lobos. Together live this Saturday, Rose Music Center at the Heights. Same night, same stage. Emmy Lou Harris. Los Lobos live. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com and the Rose Music Center box office.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up? We'll help you find everything you need to do the job right. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil high mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $28.99. And you can get it all fast, your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Start your job today at AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Lower your home's energy costs with Owens Corning panel insulation and get 11% off everything now at Menards. Foamular panel insulation seals buildings from air and moisture and is perfect for basement walls or below a new garage floor. Right now, save 11% on all Owens Corning panel insulation. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through August 7th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Don't wait to get a new job. Express Employment Professionals is hiring for more than 35,000 jobs. Find your local Express office at expresspros.com or on the Express Jobs app.
The Reds are on the radio. Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
If 5 years ago I would have told you that there's an NBA lineup that features LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook, Dwight Howard, and Anthony Davis, you would have said, oh, you watched the All-Star game last night. Well, now that's the, I don't know if that's the starting lineup, but the Lakers have some weapons, but I have a feeling, they're the geriatric Lakers. This is a very old Lakers team. They have the experience. I think they're more built for the playoffs than they are the regular season. But I do think that that's what a lot of these moves were. The reason I like the Westbrook deal in LA is mainly because that's an extra motor. That's like Carmelo's not a motor. Dwight Howard's not a motor. A lot of the guys that they added, they're not motors. Like, they're not guys that are going to carry a load for you. Westbrook is the guy that you can count on if LeBron's out with an injury. Imagine having Westbrook that 2-month stretch that LeBron was out. The Lakers would have been not great, but they would have been okay. AD, him and out. The whole dynamic of the team changes if it's LeBron and Westbrook, pushing tempo. But that's the problem. Westbrook likes to play fast. You can't play fast with Anthony Davis. You can't play fast with Dwight Howard. You can't play fast with Carmelo Anthony right now. These guys aren't bums. They're not walking up and down the floor.
Well, you can play fast with Bron and Melo, but you're not asking Melo to fill the lane like he did back in his Denver days.
Run to the corner. Run to the wing.
You run to the wing while Bron fills the lane. So they have to make a choice. Hey, do I stop the dude that's going to dunk the ball, or do I stop the dude that shot 43% from three-point land last year? Pick your poison. So, they're adding him because he does what he always does. He puts the ball in the hole. And they're not adding him for any other reason but to put the ball in the hole. Hey, if Carmelo Anthony is your fourth option, he's going to get you 15 points a game, just like he did with Portland.
All right. So Jake Whiting on Facebook, Kev, he says, Kinner being nice. He says, Kinner being nice. I go to Texas for a week, and now Kinner's being nice about the Bengals. And then he has the open, wide-eyed emoji on there as well. Look, people, you're just starting to realize and understand. Not trying to force bad Bengals narratives on you. It's just the reality of it. In a week, I'll return to normal. But these reports don't mean a whole hell of a lot. My thing is this, Kev, when the reports are good, and because that's the thing. If reports would have been coming out that, man, Burrow and Chase, they're in sync, man. They look unstoppable. They've connected on 17 deep balls. You can't stop him. He's going to be. You mean to tell me that the chatter from the Bengals fans wouldn't be lighting me up? No, they would. So consider me being nice right now, because I know if the reports were the opposite of what they've been, you'd be letting me hear about it. And my favorite part is now is everyone's like, oh, it's camp. It's day 4 of camp. It's day 5 of camp. Okay. It would be the same day of camp had they been performing well. So, but again, reality is I'm not going to overreact to positive reports, just like the Browns, who have a lot of positive reports coming out of camp. I'm not overhyped about that. That's, my thinking is, well, they should be. It's year 2. The offense was one of the most efficient offenses in the league last year. You didn't really make any changes other than the fact that you should be more in sync because it's year 2 under Stefanski's system. So, yes, you should be. I'm expecting that. I would be more concerned if the reports were the opposite, because I think Baker and the Browns are running out of excuses. It's no more 5th different coach in 4 years. It's the same offensive system that he excelled at last year and should be able to take a step to that next level. Let's see what else. I know a lot of people were kind of taken back by my approach with this, with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Got them off balance.
Yes, Matt Sturgeon says, I agree with everything Kinner is saying. So it's throwing some people off. So there you go. But like I said, give it some time. But yeah, like I said, to recap real quick before moving on. My concern for the Bengals offense this year, outside of the offensive line, that'll never change. It's always going to be that offensive line until proven otherwise. And I think I give them an F for how they address the offensive line in the offseason, mainly because you had the resources to get it done and they didn't. And then in the opportunities to address it, they passed up on Sewell with the number 5 overall pick, did not address the offensive line in the second round either. You had a chance to get some first round caliber offensive linemen in that second round, chose not to. That's the problem I have. But forget that. The one reason I fear is, even with a good offensive line for Joe Burrow, is the OBJ effect in Cincinnati. Jamar Chase being OBJ. Think of all the hype around Jamar Chase when they drafted him, all of the video highlighted clips from their time at LSU. And everyone said, oh, that's why he is the smart draft pick, because him and Burrow already have chemistry. They're going to pick up right where they left off at LSU. I don't care how good Burrow is or how good Jamar Chase is. That's not a fair assumption to have about, because they played well together in college, that they'll just pick up where they left off in college. That was college. This is the pro. You also had Jamar Chase, who didn't play football last year. You had Joe Burrow, who went down in week 10. There's a lot of reasons why it shouldn't work, just as many as why it should. But my concern is last year, when you look at Burrow's success, when you look at the completion percentage, when you look at the total yards, when you look at, how well the offensive looked despite the bad offensive line, despite the lack of, in my opinion, NFL caliber coaches on the sideline, despite all of those things, Burrow looked like he was ready to excel. So my concern is just like we saw Baker look that same way in his rookie season, where it wasn't, oh man, I got to get the ball to Jarvis. I got to get the ball to Higgins. I got to get the ball here. It was just as simple as, I'm going to drop back. First open receiver I see, I'm going to get him the ball. When quarterbacks have that type of feel of the offense, they look a lot more in sync. That's why after OBJ left last year, everyone assumes that's why Baker all of a sudden started to click within the offense. My concern for Joe Burrow is this: that Jamar Chase is going to be the OBJ of the Bengals. And I'm not talking about the personality. I already saw someone bring up, he's not a diva like OBJ. OBJ has not been a diva in Cleveland. He's been the complete opposite. He's been one of the best teammates you could imagine in Cincinnati. When he went out with the injury last year, he was on the sideline many, many games. He was constantly tweeting about about Baker Mayfield's success. He was constantly tweeting about how he wished he could be out there with the guys. That doesn't sound like a diva to me. That sounds like a guy that wants to be there for his teammates. So spare me with those lazy diva takes. I'm not going to accept those. The OBJ take I mean by Jamar Chase is that's going to be the number one target, which you drafted him to be the number one target, but how much is that going to throw off the mindset of Joe Burrow, where he feels, man, we drafted him over what should have been an offensive lineman. The pressure for us to succeed is going to be high. There's not going to be a window of time where people are going to give us to figure this out. There's going to be high expectations for us to pick up where we left off. And you could say that that's not the case. It is the case. That is going to be the case across the country when it comes to evaluating the Bengals. Yes, it has to work with him and Jamar Chase. Because the Bengals are trying to shake off that perception that they are a bad organization, right? And you have your quarterback now. You have expectations. There's optimism now. Look at the Browns. We literally just talked about it at the beginning of the show. Look at the constant great moves that the front office has made. All of a sudden, there's some positive optimism about that front office. Almost, it's like they know what they're doing. Well, it's going to take Jamar Chase to be an immediate star for people to start to look at the Bengals and say, okay, well, we were wrong. Maybe they did know what they were doing. And if Jamar Chase does not fit the part, if he does not work out, if him and Burrow cannot get in sync with the Bengals, now it's a completely different conversation. And now the front office looks bad. Now Joe Burrow looks bad the way Baker looks bad with OBJ, even though I just think it's a chemistry issue between those two. Sometimes it's just square peg, round hole. It doesn't work. I'm not saying that's the case with Jamar Chase. 5 days of training camp. Today's the first day in pads. I'll be concerned more a week from now. But Bengals fans, don't worry. I got your back. Nothing to be concerned of. Nothing to be concerned of from the bad reports out of camp that the offensive struggles. One thing, though, Kev, it's not because of the good defense. I don't want to hear about good defense being why the offense looks shaky. It is what it is. But there's pressure on the defense, too. I think if you're the Bengals, you kind of like the reports of how good the defense has looked, because there's a lot of people questioning why you spent so much time looking at the defense instead of addressing that offensive line. And by the way, no Riley Reef. He has not stepped foot out on the practice field yet. So how about that? Your 1 year geriatric rental is not healthy enough. Who would have thunk it?
I thought you were being nice today.
I am, but they're all valid points. I'm not saying, if you don't like my points, that's okay. I'm not expecting you to, because fans want to be told that their bad team is good. That's not the case right now. This was their. I mean, I don't know. We'll move on from it. Because you're right. I'm borderline going. I'm reverting. I'm like Joe Burrow in year 2. I'm starting to revert back a little bit. I gotta, keep moving forward. So there's that. All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. The Cincinnati Reds they aggressively went after Chris Bryant at the trade deadline. How about that? That kind of turned some heads. What is it with Cincinnati teams constantly going after pieces that don't really fix what they need to fix in the immediate future? Thought that news was interesting. We'll talk about that coming up around the corner. You touched on the NBA free agency. Coming up here at the top of the hour for hour 2, Clemson and Florida, apparently, according to reports, they have spread out some hands to touch the SEC to kind of gauge what interest level would be there. Everyone thought that Texas, Oklahoma going to the SEC was going to slam the door shut on the current landscape of college athletics. I think it's cracked right now. I think it's waiting for someone to slam it shut. If Clemson and Florida State, if this does happen, it'll totally change the landscape of college football. I do not think it's changed right now. I think that it's turned some heads with Texas and Oklahoma. But if they get 2 more elite powers like that, I know Florida State's on a downward trend right now, but I'm very curious to see how much validity is in these reports, Kev, because apparently the president of Florida State comes out today and totally denies it. There has not been any interest or contact made between Florida State and the SEC, and Clemson's coming out and denying as well. And, very similarly to what we saw from Texas and Oklahoma. We all know how that book ended. So Let's get to that top of the hour. Curious your thoughts on Clemson and Florida State to the SEC and what that could potentially mean for the Big Ten. Again, I can't believe it, but it was finalized. Texas and Oklahoma are SEC teams, at least down the road, but they're SEC teams. That's going to be a weird season. If you're the Big 12 and Texas makes the playoff this year, Oklahoma, are they really happy for them?
Yeah, they're going to get some of that money.
Oof. You saw they lost 50% of their TV revenue with them leaving?
Yeah.
50%. 2 programs.
Yeah. That's like what I was talking about when I made the analogy to a mall. Anchor stores. They are Macy's and Sears. You know what I'm saying? They are the anchor stores of their conference. And when you lose those, you lose big money. But my question for every other Big 12 team out there, you're doing it right. It's horns down all season, right? Because this is all their fault. I know we're going to get into it at the top of the hour, but this whole ball of wax that's happening in college football is all Texas' fault. And it's not just like now. It's the reason that Nebraska left the Big 12 for the Big 10 is because of Texas. All the other schools were cool with Texas getting the Longhorn Network and everything like that. Everybody took it. Well, except for Nebraska and Colorado, they said, no, man, that's not cool. That's not right. That's not fair. And Nebraska came to the Big 10, and Colorado went to the Pac-12. And now, 10 years later, Texas is responsible for the disbandment of the Big 12 football conference.
And they were given everything. They were the Ohio State of the Big 12.
They were
given
more.
Everything.
They were given more because in the Big 10, they split the pie evenly. In the Pac-12, but in the Big 12, they do it off a percentage base, not off actually what you accomplish off the field. Is based off of crazy things like, oh, we're a bigger school than them and we're a bigger brand than them. Not actually what you accomplish, not what you actually do on the field or what you do during March Madness or any other sport. But we're Texas, we deserve it, and people bowed down to them and allowed them to take a larger cut of the money, of the revenue, have their own network, and then they allowed that to happen. They signed off on it, and then 10 years later, they gave it to them some more. They gave it to them some more and said, all right, we're going to leave you guys high and dry after we just did you guys in with our own network. We got all the money out of that. We got all the money out of the conference, and now that we're done with you, we're going to the SEC. So I will never, ever randomly turn on a football game that Texas is playing and root for them ever again in life.
How is that different than a player?
Horns down forever, dog.
When a player turns on the team after the team gives them everything they want, LeBron, you're always pro player, but when the teams are doing the same thing, you're against the team as a whole.
No. This is what's good for college football. This is as a whole. This is a whole entity. This is a whole conglomerate that they're dismantling. after they gave them everything, after the conference gave them everything they wanted, after not only the conference members gave them everything they wanted, they did that to them. So it's horns down. And I wonder if those officials going to, penalize teams, or they're gonna be like, "Oh, I didn't see the horns down. I'm sorry."
If I'm the Big 12, to stick it back to Texas, remember when we told you couldn't do that? Yeah, we're all gonna do that.
If you don't do it, it's a penalty.
Yep. There you go.
Man, you scored a touchdown. You better throw them horns down. I don't care if we're not playing Texas or not.
Our teams get penalized for not doing the horns down. How about that?
Exactly.
Hour 2 next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, welcome to Everything Outdoors. Can I help you find anything?
Hey, yeah. Can you point us to the camping gear?
Sure, aisle 2.
Snowboarding? Just bought a new Nissan Pathfinder. It's got intelligent 4x4, and we want to hit the backcountry.
Aisle 18.
And the boats?
Are you sure you can do all this?
Up to 6,000 pounds towing, we're good to go. Oh, where's the scuba gear?
Return to rugged in the all-new 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. Available intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Towing capability varies by configuration. See Nissan Owner's Manual for proper use.
Staples Connect has everything for school at amazing prices. Now, Staples 2-pocket paper folders are just 15 cents. And comp books, 24-pack Crayola crayons, and 8 packs of Pep Rally No. 2 pencils are 50 cents each. So you won't just be ready for school, you'll be Prepared Parent of the Year ready.
I just want to thank my family and Staples for making this possible.
Visit your local Staples or staples.com/back to school and get more than ready for school. Ends 8/7. Limit 30 except no limit on pencils. Pocket folder offer in store only.
Reds fans, get vaccinated, stay safe, and save on Reds tickets. Show your COVID-19 vaccination card at the Great American Ballpark box office for $10 view level tickets. This offer is valid for all Monday through Thursday regular season home games. Remember to show your COVID-19 vaccination card at the ballpark ticket windows for $10 view level tickets. For details, visit reds.com/vaccine.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Nya, nya, nya. Zimbabwe. The broken Bunsen burner burns so bright. Southeast Asian Peninsula.
Hey, Jamie.
Yes.
I think the only line we need from you today is drivers who switch to Progressive could say big.
Cool. I just got to finish my warm-ups. Foul, throw in the towel. History.
Switch to Progressive today.
Santa ski slalom in a salmon skin suit.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Don't wait to get a new job. Express Employment Professionals is hiring for more than 35,000 jobs. Find your local Express office at expresspros.com or on the Express Jobs app.
Want free Reds tickets? How about a free MLB Network Reds bag? Maybe a Reds bobblehead? Here's an idea. How about we combine them all together and give you a chance to win a free WING Reds prize pack presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Register daily at wingam.com.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash hanging out with you here on a Tuesday. It's our Monday. Well, my Monday. No, your Monday too. We were off yesterday.
No, I was here.
Well, I was off yesterday. And yet the whole world survived. It didn't come caving in. Imagine that. All right, so last week, the last 10 days, dating back to what, I guess just over a week and a half ago, Oklahoma, Texas, SEC. It still sounds weird. I was literally driving around today picturing like, man, when Texas and Alabama, by the way, that is pretty cool though. Imagine that first Texas-Alabama game. I mean, the Florida-Texas, we see that in bowl games pretty much every year. But like, I mean, Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma, Georgia, Oklahoma, Alabama, like those matchups, like those regular season matchups. My favorite part about this is that Alabama's going to have to play at Texas now. You're going to have to play at Oklahoma at Alabama, Texas at Alabama, same thing. Like these matchups, even Georgia right now, I mean, being as built up as they are, Florida, to see Texas at Florida in the swamp and then Florida at Texas, like there's some matchups that are unreal. Like I'm really excited about how that's going to look when that time comes. Right now, it's strange because you're seeing a Power 5 conference be dismantled. The Big 12 is basically hanging on by a thread. I don't think there's a move that they can make to realign as a true power. Like,
no, it's a wrap.
There's nothing there. There's not a huge difference outside of resources between them and the American Conference. The American's still a step below a tad bit, but at least they have some premier programs right now. The Big 12, Baylor's sometimes in the mix there, but I mean overall, West Virginia every once in a while will sprinkle in some interesting seasons. And West Virginia, it's usually that one-loss West Virginia team that catches fire down the stretch that everyone's like, well, there's a window, there's a path to the playoff for them, but no one's looking at them as true playoff contenders. The Big 12's in trouble. Now there's the ACC, who very similar to the Big 12 and very similar to the Big 10, even though the Big 10 is viewed as the second best conference in college football. And I'm not going to sit here and argue with that, but I do know that the one thing that the SEC, or the one thing that the ACC, the Big 12, the Pac-12, and the Big 10 all have in common is if you cut off the head of that snake, they're dead. The SEC, that's not the case. Right. You could have, people make all the arguments you want, say that there's an SEC bias, ESPN, blah, blah, blah. You cut off if you take Alabama out of the SEC, it's still the best conference in college football. It still has Georgia. It still has Florida. It still has LSU. It still has now it has Texas and freaking Oklahoma. Like you cut off the head of the snake, it's still sliver it. But you take Ohio State out of the Big 10, even as good as Michigan and mainly Penn State, Michigan living off its history, of course, but as good as some of those programs are, it's not surviving without Ohio State. Not from a revenue TV deal standpoint, it's just not. The ACC, you take Clemson out. Florida State's recognized, it has the brand name, it has the history. Them and Clemson, you take them out of the ACC, and now what? You got North Carolina. Things aren't going well there either in regards to they're vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that the Big 12 didn't realize is this is why I get annoyed with the Big 10. And I always bring this up, that too many times we hear about teams recruiting to win their division, to win their conference. And I'm like, but you got to have bigger aspirations than that. That dress for the job you want, not the job you have. I know that's an annoying cliche, but that's kind of where I'm at when it comes to the Big 10 and the ACC and others. Yeah. Cut your hair and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Right. So my point is that the Big 10, stop dressing for the job you have and dress for the job you want. Stop settling for, we've always done it this way. We're just the Big 10. You are watching the vulnerability of conferences as the SEC gets stronger. People think, they got Texas and Oklahoma. They're fine. No, they're going to keep, when the rich get rich, they want to get richer. They don't just sit there and say, wow, I was poor growing up and this is the most money I've ever had. I'm content. No, money is a drug and they are addicted to that drug. And the SEC is going through they're going through so many hoops to be able to get what they want. And the ACC, they don't have a strong enough base to convince Clemson to stay. Because outside of Alabama, the second most successful program in the country, at least right now, is Clemson. Multiple national championships. They've done it with multiple quarterbacks. Dabo Swinney has them at the peak of that program's history right now. Ohio State's just on the outside looking in to those two. Don't care if that upsets some people. That's called common sense. In reality, it's not called an opinion. It's just a fact. Ohio State has one championship in the last 10 years, two in the last 20, and Clemson just did that in the last 4 years. Alabama's had 5 in the last 10 years. Ohio State, you're just on the outside looking in. You got to get that foot in. Point is, all these conferences are vulnerable. Anyone out there that thinks, oh, no, there's no way my team is going to bounce. Texas fans were saying the same thing. Oklahoma fans were like, what the hell? We've been dominating this conference. I mean, crap. I mean, we're fine, right? Ohio State fans, I keep hearing too many people say, oh, no, there's no way we would do that. Really? The rich want to get richer.
Right.
Don't dress for the job you have, dress for the job you want. And what Ohio State wants is to be Alabama. And everyone's like, well, you can't do that in the SEC. Well, you haven't done it in the Big Ten either. You are an elite program. You're the third most dominant program in college football right now with the way they're recruiting. It wouldn't surprise me if they're right up there with Alabama here in the near future. But the point is if Ohio State settles for running in place along with the Big Ten, they're going to get left behind too. Not really, but you see my point. My point is you don't want to put your program at a disadvantage. Go where the current's taking you. Stop trying to swim upstream. I'm trying to think of as many more stupid analogies or sayings as I can. But this rumors about Clemson and Florida State to the SEC, I saw more reaction. That's not going to happen. These reports are being made up. This is how the momentum for Texas, Oklahoma started. There were some rumblings out there, and it picked up momentum, and it picked up quick.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, you heard rumors about Texas and Oklahoma to the Pac-12. Look, man, it's as simple as this. College football is changing, and everything that the ACC was previously built on, it was a basketball conference, and all those schools played good college basketball. And at the time, in the 80s and 90s, that was the thing to sell was college basketball. And they did it well with schools like Duke and North Carolina. And then, they added schools like Louisville and Syracuse to that basketball footprint. But you have two schools in that footprint who are more known for football, Clemson and Florida State. And then you add other schools that are known for football, like a Miami and like a Virginia Tech. So you have like those schools that also play basketball, but they're football schools. And that's what they're known for, which is perfectly fine in that scope of college football. But guess what? Things have changed a ton in just a short period of time, because before, when college football expanded, it was all about, let's get to this bigger media market. Like with the Big Ten, when they expanded, they said, all right, we're going to get Rutgers so we can get that New York market. We're going to get Maryland so we can get that DC market and that Virginia market, being in bigger markets. Well, the way TV is set up now, it really don't matter, because everybody's cut the cord. They got YouTube TV or they got a satellite TV. You can get any channel, anytime,
Easy
anywhere.
TV.
Anywhere, anytime, anywhere. So it's really about having those brand name teams. It don't matter if your brand name team sucks like Texas, but they're a brand name team and they bring a lot of eyeballs to the TV set. So for anybody out there in Big Ten country, ACC country, Pac-12 country, to realistically sit there and tell themselves, oh, my team wouldn't leave. Ohio State wouldn't leave the Big Ten. Florida State wouldn't leave the SEC. Clemson wouldn't leave the ACC. USC wouldn't leave the Pac-12. We're charter members, yada, 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 yada. You're telling yourself a dream, man. It's just a wrap, man. The way we see college football currently constructed, it's a wrap. It's not about the tradition anymore. It's not about, they'll try to fool you with that. Oh man, it's about the pageantry, the band, yada, 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 the student body, yada, 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 all those cliches that we fall in love with initially watching college football. It'll still be there, but it's packaged, it's broadcast, and it's sold. And that's what exactly this is. And that's perfectly fine. We live in a capitalistic society. So, okay, we just got to roll with the punches. But for any conference out there that sits by and allows their members to just sit there and kind of wait for you, no, we're going to stand pat. We're going to stand pat on the Big Ten moral footprint and yada, yada. We're going to remain the Big Ten. Oh, we're going to remain the ACC, yada, yada. You're fooling yourselves, because these, not only ADs, but college presidents, they have to look out for the best interests of their programs and their schools. So if their best interest is for them to leave, they'll do it. If it's their best interest to stay, they'll do it. So my advice to any conference commissioner out there is you better call up each other. Like you, Big Ten, you should be calling up Clemson. You should be calling up Florida State. You should be calling up Virginia Tech. You should be calling up Miami. Those brand names, you should be getting those brand names into your conference. And instead of allowing those brand names to go to the SEC, be proactive. Don't sit by and wait for something to happen and be reactionary to it. Make it happen yourselves. Make it happen. I mean, look, the way we want it to be, the way it used to be, it ain't never happening again. And to be perfectly honest, it ain't been that way for a very long time, but we keep fooling ourselves and trying to tell ourselves it is that way, but it ain't. I tell myself that too. We get into it about, the Ohio State Michigan game, and is it still a rivalry? You say no, it's not. I say yes, it is. We go back and forth. But the reality of it is, this is now pro football. So we're going to have multiple teams that are traditional rivals, like Texas and Nebraska, who were rivals in the Big 12, who don't play anymore. We're going to have traditional rivals like Texas A&M and Texas. They didn't play anymore. Texas is now headed to the SEC. They're going to be playing Texas A&M again. But for people to act like things that are now are going to be the way they're going to be always, you're fooling yourselves. Big Ten commissioners, ACC commissioner, get on the phone, dial each other up, and play Let's Make a Deal. Because if you don't, then you're going to be shredded completely. Because don't think for one second that Clemson and Florida State wouldn't go to the SEC. And if anything's told you anything, if Texas and Oklahoma, charter members of the Big 12, can leave the conference that they basically started together to go to the SEC, don't you think for one second that Ohio State and Michigan wouldn't team up to do the exact same thing? I know old people think, oh no, Ohio State and Michigan working together, it would never happen. Look, man,
Texas and Oklahoma, same
exactly.
Thing. They view their rivalry as bigger than that one.
Same exact thing. They will do what's in the best interest for them to keep their programs running at optimum, and they don't want to be looked at as second rate.
Yeah, because there's one tradition that school presidents and athletic directors will never, ever give up on, and that's making money. And that'll trump Ohio State, Michigan. That'll trump Duke, North Carolina. That'll trump anything else.
They'll do it together, and that's the one thing I think they will do. Like if it was to happen, I think Michigan, they'll do it at lock and step. I think they'll do it lock and step. I think that's something that they view as something that they will have to do together. I don't think like they would just like Oklahoma left Oklahoma State in the win, Michigan will leave Michigan State in the win.
Well, let me ask
just like that. I think Ohio State and Michigan will do whatever they're going to do, lock and step. I'm not saying Ohio State is leaving. I'm not saying Michigan is leaving. But what I am saying is if you think they wouldn't, you're a fool.
Well, let me ask you, I mean, this isn't about joining the SEC. My thing is, how did Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC impact Notre Dame? And what I mean by that is, did that help them being an independent? Did it hurt their stock at being an independent? Because we keep acting like joining a conference is what the next best thing is for Ohio State if the Big Ten starts to get watered down. So what's stopping them from saying, well, why go to the SEC and get drowned over there and be a big fish in a big pond, in a big ocean, basically, and just basically, everyone beat up on one another. Notre Dame, as much as I rip them, they're kind of the ones sitting the prettiest because they're not impact like the teams that are left in the Big 12. Look at them. You're only as good as the teams around you in your conference. And that's been the unfortunate part for the Pac-12. The Pac-12 sitting there like, man, SEC or the USC, and Oregon, they're just, the programs haven't been elite lately. They've been okay, but you're only as good as the face of your, program or your conference. And that's hurt the Pac-12. Notre Dame's like, you know what? If certain programs in college football are having down stretches, we just won't schedule them. We'll make sure we play the programs that are on the up.
Right.
They control their own destiny. They control their own playoff future. And as long as this playoff is at 4, or if it's at 6, 8, or 12, for the first time in ever for me, I'm looking at the independent scene as the more of the route to go for Ohio State. There's no revenue sharing. There's no splitting it with anybody. Everything I hate about Notre Dame is what I'm looking at now, saying I wish Ohio State would just say enough. You and Michigan, you don't need to be in the Big Ten. You don't need to be in the SEC. you're only as good as who you are. And I think Ohio State, they're one of the few programs that could make it. That's why I'm surprised Texas went to the SEC, because I thought they were another program that could have handled being an independent, even though their success doesn't even match that of Notre Dame. They haven't even made the damn playoff.
Right.
They haven't even won their conference. They're in. I'm just Texas.
I wouldn't be against Ohio State sparking out on an independent.
A year ago,
spree.
I would have been. Now I'm like, you know what? You do you. You drive your own boat. Don't rely on the lifeboat of somebody else.
Right.
Don't wait for them to throw you a lifeboat. You drive your own ship. And I think that's the route they should go.
And another thing is teams like, I don't know, Vanderbilt, Rutgers, like, don't think just because you're in a conference now, you're going to stay in that conference. You know, they could vote you out. They could kick you out. Like, because like,
can you trade? Is there a way to trade? Like I send you Rutgers and a first round pick and and some cash.
like I know it sounds funny to hear now, but like, you know, way back in the day, like Harvard and Michigan used to play for national championships now. Like they used to be equal, you know what I'm saying? So, but Michigan got so big and, you know, they helped form the Big Ten and everything like that. They left Harvard in the wind. And you don't want your program to turn into, no offense, Harvard football. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Harvard academically, absolutely. But Harvard football, like these things happen when things become monetized. So commissioners, dial up each other. Get these power teams together in a conference, because it's going back to the way it was. That's not going to happen. Like, it's just not. It's going to continue to move forward in the quote unquote pro model and everything like that. And I don't necessarily believe it's what's best for the sport and everything like that. But for the reality of it is, that's what it's going to be, because it's happening. It's been happening slowly but surely. And like, this was like the big one. This was the big one. You know, if you watch Sanford, his son, you know, Fred Sanford used to say, oh, this is the big one. This was the big one. This was the big one that everybody took notice of. You know, you can look at Colorado going to the Pac-12. You can look at Nebraska coming to the Big Ten. Those are earthquakes. But this was big. This is a tsunami. This is game changing right here. So everything's on the table. So if somebody was to come to me and tell me, hey man, Ohio State and Michigan, they're joining the SEC. Ohio State and Michigan, they're going independent. Ohio State's doing it. I wouldn't be shocked at this point. The shock is over, because if a team like Texas and Oklahoma can leave their conference and join the SEC, anything's possible. Everything's on the table. So I wouldn't be shocked by anything.
Well, you know, it's funny during COVID, you know, because it's gone away. During COVID last year, you know, because that's where it was last year, not this year. Everyone kept saying that, you know, the Big Ten, that they were making the right decisions, that they had the smartest people making their decisions, right? Like the SEC, they're just football folk. Well, they just care about their football. They don't care about the safety of the players or the education or anything like that. They just care about the Big Ten. They have the scholars. They have, you know, this very smart individuals running all of their schools and you know, working with the Big Ten. Well, now's the time to utilize those smarts. Now is the time to prove that you have the brains, because what you can't have is, you can't have the SEC that only cares about football and winning football games, and they don't care about no global pandemic. They don't care about safety. They don't care about. You can't have that group run circles around you, right? Because the perception is they ran circles around the Big Ten and Kevin Warren last year, and they're not careful, it could look like they're running more laps around the Big Ten, who's supposed to be an equal to the SEC. And you cannot say that that's the case if they're going to just sit back and just watch everything else come caving in without them making, you know, fighter's chance. You got to swing. You can't just sit there and hope not to get punched. You kind of got to swing yourself. Otherwise, you're just backing yourself in a corner, and eventually you're going to get tired, and them hands are going to drop, and you're going to get popped in the face. And the SEC, they're like Floyd Mayweather. They're patient. They're patient. By the way, and that's the other thing, too. These talks have been going on for 6 months. How the hell was there no leak? Like, that's amazing to me. The most amazing thing about all of this is not that Texas and Oklahoma went to the SEC. It's the fact that when the report came out that said there's been talks going on for over 6 months, not one reporter got word of it. Not one person leaked it. That, to me, is amazing. That proves either one of two things. It proves that things are capable of being locked up, or it proves that, hey, a lot of times information is leaked purposely. Right. And that's to send the scent dogs to a different direction. I don't know, but that amazed to me, of everything that's happened, the fact that for 6 months, these schools were talking to the SEC and nobody caught wind of it, I find that absolutely amazing. I find that to be spectacular. Good for them, because that's such big news that I have a hard time believing that not one person was going to leak that. That's how airtight that was. Good for them for getting that done. It was so tight. I mean, the Big 12 had no idea.
Blindsided.
I mean, that's like that happy married couple that they're like, I had no idea she was cheating on me behind my back. Like the Big 12 looks like they just,
shocked.
Yeah, like it literally caught them by surprise.
For all the people out there saying that the rumors aren't true about Clemson and Florida State dialing up the SEC or vice versa, whatever you want to say, the one saving grace, and I know we're not an ACC country, but the one saving grace that they may have is the ACC network has a deal with ESPN, and that isn't over until 2039. So all those teams in the ACC are in contracts for basically the next, 18 years. So that can be sticky. We already talked about the last 4-year deal with the Big 12 in Oklahoma and Texas. They coughing up nearly $500 million each. So I can only imagine what schools will have to pay to get out of that contract with the ACC network. So that would be the saving grace. Like if you're talking about $500 million for 4 years, you're in the multiple $1 billion to try to get out of a contract with the ACC network if you're Florida State or Clemson. So that would be the saving grace to say, yeah, we ain't going nowhere until it's at least down to $1 billion, right?
And if the SEC was desperate enough to get those teams, they can cover some of those costs, and they probably would. If it meant something to them.
Ooh, that's a lot of money.
All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Happy Tuesday. We got Reds baseball tonight. The Reds are off yesterday. They have the Minnesota Twins beginning tonight, a little mini series with the Twins at Great American Ballpark. So we'll talk more about that. The lineup is out. Joey Votto had an off day on Sunday. Whole team off yesterday. And we'll have those couple off days for Votto provide as far as him picking up where he left off coming up here later on tonight. 7:10 the first pitch, 6:40 the pregame. We'll have full lineups coming up for you later on. Kev Nash brings you over under coming up around the corner. We opened up talking about the struggles for the Bengals in training camp, and basically I said, don't worry, Bengals fans, it's all fine. It'll all work itself out. I'm not freaked out yet. I'll talk smack in a week if those same reports are coming out, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to overreact to the first 4 or 5 days of training camp with no pads. So that's kind of where I'm at as far as that goes. Quinn Ewers enrolls early at Ohio State and is eligible to practice and play immediately. The reasons for why he left Texas are reasons that basically we were kind of all considering how that could impact the high school landscape. This is more of a high school sports story than it is a college sports story, and I'll talk about that on the other side. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Your weather forecast: low tonight of 60 and partly cloudy, high tomorrow of 83 and mostly sunny. I'm Chris Harden for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
O'Reilly. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts will help with all your car care needs. Whether you're shopping for parts, accessories, or supplies, we've got you covered. Right now, get Superior Coverall Tire Shine 2 for $16. Plus, earn double O Rewards points. Keep your car looking like new. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Are you stuck in a timeshare you want out of? Tired of wasting thousands of dollars? The Titan Exit Group wants to give you a free consultation on how you can be legally released from your timeshare contract. Stop the mortgage payments, cancel the never-ending maintenance fees, and terminate your timeshare. Call for your free consultation now at 800-200-0894. Get legally released from your timeshare. The call and consultation are absolutely free. Call 800-200-0894. 800-200-0894.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, and our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is the sound of a popular American motorcycle. It's the sound of freedom, the open road, really good times. And this is what it sounds like with a drunk guy in it. How do you like the sound of that? Cops are cracking down on drunk motorcycle riders. If you ride drunk, you will get caught and you will get arrested. Drunk riding, over the limit, under arrest. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Transportation.
Hey there, it's CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger with an inside track on a company that could save your family over $800 a year on a basic service everyone needs, H2O Wireless. If you're with Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, H2O Wireless gives you the exact same coverage as one of those, but at half the price. That's right, H2O Wireless uses the same network, same towers. You can even keep your phone and number because switching is as easy as swapping a SIM card. Right now, get unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data for just $36 a month. And if you want a new phone, H2O Wireless has huge savings on the latest iPhones and Androids. Here's what you need to do. Pick up your phone and dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O. When you do, you'll save 50% off your first month. Again, dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O, and your family could start saving over $800 a year today.
Great values are happening now during Lowe's Pro Summer Savings. Get values across the store, including tools, appliances, and other pro essentials. Lowe's, the new home for pros.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. 518-1410, 518-1410. That is the new number to call and jump in on the conversation. The old number is the old number. Technically, it still works. I'm not even going to throw it out there because I don't want that number to be in your head anymore. So the new number, the new call-in number for the show, 518-1410. It's 1410 ESPN Radio, 518-1410. That's the number to jump in on the conversation. And I have a feeling a lot of you are going to have a lot to say about this next part of the show. So, Quinn Ewers, the number one quarterback prospect for the class of 22, or at least so we thought. Quinn Ewers is doing something right now that I applaud, and it's something that I had honestly questioned on the very first day that name, image, and likeness was officially in play in college athletics. I had asked about, okay, well, what does that mean? We keep talking about the college side, about the college athletes. Let's rewind back to when Luke Kennard was playing at Franklin. Let's rewind back to that time. How much money you think Luke Kennard could have made from name, image, and likeness here in the Miami Valley? I don't think we're talking about them 7-figure deals that we're talking about with like Quinn Ewers at Ohio State and the quarterback at Alabama. My point is that, we had sat here and we talked so much about the opportunities to make money when you go to college, but what about those rare big names? And by the way, there's a lot of really good talent in the area right now that's being looked at. Look at Centerville. They're a future. I think some of the top D1 coaches in the country are just camping outside of Centerville High School right now for the basketball players. But there was something different about Luke Kennard, right? There's always really good basketball players, but there's just something about Luke that was next level, right? We get those kind of athletes every once in a while that are that next level. How much money do you think he could have made? How much money do you think Braxton would have made back in the day, right? Like Norris and those guys. Now, Norris wasn't highly sought after. He's super talented, don't get me wrong, but at that, you know what I mean? He didn't have a lot of big brands after him, and that doesn't mean anything about him. I'm just saying at that time. But the nationally recognized guys, the flying to the hoop caliber, face of that, showcase type of talent. Those are the guys I was always talking about, especially for here in this area. Now, Quinn Ewers is leaving and skipping and foregoing his senior year of high school and for his school in Texas to enroll early at Ohio State because he was one credit away from graduating high school, and he's going to do that. And by the way, that's the most important thing. Kudos to him. Because as talented as a football player he is, and think back to your high school days, so many distractions, so many things going on around you that, forget this book. These teachers, I dare them to fail me, right? This dude, maybe that's the case. I don't know. But this dude's graduating early. This ain't college. Look, I needed every single second of my 4 years of high school, and it came down to the final second for me to graduate high school. I know, shocker, right? I seem like a very brainy dude. What the hell was this kid doing to graduate high school early?
Man, and being a supreme athlete.
Good for him. So he is leaving his high school in Texas to enroll early at Ohio State for the main reason being some of the state laws prohibit him from being able to make money off of his name, image, and likeness as a high school player. I find that interesting, mainly because of what we talked about here. Can these high schoolers make money here locally? If Luke Kennard, and the reason I keep bringing up Luke is he was the last huge name from the high school ranks. That's no disrespect to House and some of the kids around here, but I think everyone could agree Luke Kennard was just at a different level from a name recognizability standpoint. I just made up a word. We'll move on quickly so I don't get embarrassed by that. So with that being said, Quinn Ewers coming to Ohio State early. I don't know why people are so bothered by this. There are problems with this, and they have nothing to do with the new name, image, and likeness that has dominating the college athletics scene. The problems that this brings is it fast forwards the progression plan for Ohio State's recruiting and for the plans for other players. That's basically what this is doing. What this has done is it has impacted Jack Miller. It has impacted Kyle McCord. It has impacted C.J. Stroud. One of those guys, if not two, are out. One of those guys, if not two, are out at Ohio State. Whether it's as early as this next couple of weeks, I don't think that suits any of them because, right now camps are starting all around for colleges. In fact, camp starts tomorrow for Ohio State. So I don't know how that's going to work, Kev. But the interesting thing is this has garnered so much attention, and I love it. Good for him. Good for Quinn Ewers for taking his future and putting it in his own hands and saying, okay, the state's trying to take it from me. Nope, I'm going to put it in my own hands. I'm going to go to Ohio State. I'm going to enroll early. This has everyone upset. And now there's a lot of praise for this kid. There is a lot of excitement, and there's a lot of expectations for this kid. I still don't believe the kid ever takes a snap at Ohio State unless it's this year. And what I mean by that is this dude's coming over here because he has a lot of guaranteed money coming his way.
Right.
He's going to be a backup at Ohio State. He's going to be the backup behind C.J. Stroud. He's going to be the backup. He might have close to 7 figures in name, image, and likeness money coming in. And he's going to be the backup. Now you're saying, okay, who cares about that? It's all, coaches are going to play the best player and they're going to play this. If he's making that much money, that means there's an expectation that comes with him. And it's not the expectation of, oh, I hope he wins. It's no, we want to see him play. And whether we like it or not, that pressure will be forwarded onto Ryan Day. That pressure will be forwarded onto Gene Smith and the football program as a whole. we are at the point now where we talked about boosters deciding a lot of things in college athletics, but this is a completely different kind of booster. This is national dollars coming in, and they expect it to play. And the national money that could be coming in for this kid could be looking at Ohio State and saying, you want more of this? You want more of this national money? Because if this kid's not playing this year, we're not going to help Ohio State recruits out. I don't know that to be the case, but that could be the path that we're going down, and money talks, right?
Right.
I'm fascinated by this. I support this 1,000,000%. I love drama, and I was bored with the CJ Stroud versus McCord versus Jack Miller, because everyone is basically, without saying it, has said CJ Stroud's the starting quarterback. Is he? Because I still think that unless we see him being named, Ewers being named the quarterback for Ohio State this year, he will not be a backup all season and then go into next season to be the quarterback. I think the dude has star written all over him. I just don't see him not playing this year and playing at Ohio State year 2. For this reason, too, here's another what if. Ohio State runs the tables undefeated. They win the Big Ten championship. They get to the college football playoff semifinal. Maybe they make the college football national championship game. Maybe they win the national championship. Are you taking the job away from CJ Stroud at that point? Because the only way that's happening is if he plays at a high level, and there's nothing to suggest that he won't play at a high level. So what do you do? What do you do at that point? I just don't see a smooth transition into Ewers unless it's given to him right away. I would give him the starting job off the bat at the risk of maybe a bump along the way, knowing you at least get 2 full years with the kid. Well, you get 3. You would get 3. Why sit him and risk losing him over maybe an average year with CJ Stroud, or maybe a great year with CJ Stroud and then losing out on Ewers altogether? I don't know. There's so many different scenarios.
Start him off the rip? Like,
if he's as good as advertised and you risk losing him, and he's more than just a success story on the field, he's a success story to come to Ohio State, come make this money, just like we talked about with Alabama and their quarterback. There's only 2 schools that have put on this kind of recruiting pitch so far, and it's Ohio State and Alabama. And the difference is Alabama, they're starting their dude. What's Ohio State going to do with theirs? I know he's enrolling early.
Yeah,
there's nothing normal about this, by the way.
The difference between Ewers and Bryce Young. Bryce Young redshirted last year. He was already in the Alabama program last year, so he has a year under his belt. As far as Ewers concerned, battling it out, whoever's the starting quarterback, whomever that is, let's just say it isn't Ewers. Say it's one of the other 3 guys that are in that room. As long as Ohio State is winning and winning the way we like them to win, which is blowout fashion, you can't have any ammunition. You don't have any ammunition to say, oh, this dude should be starting. Now, if they're winning, forgive me for saying this, trestle ball style, just squeaking by, then you have ammunition to say, well, put the other guy in. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. So, which I don't believe will be the case. I think Ohio State is going to do what Ohio State does and handle business on the field and blow a lot of teams out, regardless of who the quarterback is. But we saw this earlier with Jaden Blue, the 4-star running back commit to Texas. He decided to sit out his senior year of high school. Now, he didn't enroll at Texas early. He's just not going to play his senior year in high school. He's going to train. He's going to handle the academics, graduate, and enroll in Texas. But Ewers took it to the next level. And like you astutely pointed out, the reason he's able to do this is because he took care of business in the classroom. And I'm not sure if there's any high school kids listening to the show right now. I'm sure there's parents listening to this. This is something that they can show their kids. Like, you know why he's able to take advantage of this NLI rule? You know why he's able to take care of all these situations? Because he took care of business in the classroom first. He's able to take care of his classroom business and graduate early because he took care of business first. That's first and foremost. Secondly, he shows up on Ohio State's campus. He's going to have to earn it, because don't think for 1 second that the guys, every player that is on Ohio State's football team or any team across the country, everybody gets along. Don't think that all these dudes are lock and step and happy-go-lucky buddy with everybody in that locker
Tate
room.
Martell, in all seriousness, he was a prime example of that.
Right.
He already created a rift in the locker room by that dumb tweet that he made. That's how it started. I don't want to go into a Tate Martell thing, but like, it's
right.
territorial. He was ticked off that he was coming. He thought he was next in line, and the next thing you know, this transferred Justin Fields from Georgia coming in, he got territorial. CJ Stroud, I think he even hears. I mean, they all know. I mean, whether it's Jack Miller, him, or whoever, they know who the guy's most likely going to be. They, it's not saying that it's locked in, but they know the pecking order really without it being listed on the board. But with him coming in now, Buckeye fans are ecstatic.
Right.
I don't think Jack Miller's ecstatic. I don't think Kyle McCord is. I don't even think CJ Stroud is. All of them are looking at this dude who they might believe is pompous. He has this crazy hair. He has this crazy personality. He has 7, figures in NIL money coming in, and all eyes are on him. And they're like, "What the hell? We've been working our asses off."
Right.
Going back to last year,
you weren't even supposed to be here until next year.
Well, you were at prom. We're playing in front of no fans.
No, he had been to prom. He's was a junior last year.
Oh, we got prom junior and senior year.
Did y'all?
Yeah.
We only had senior prom.
I didn't go to either one. But I'm just saying we got
Why didn't you go?
I just didn't go.
Oh man,
I didn't have the money. I didn't go. That's all sad, A
wise man once said, "Prom night is a bomb night," and I can agree to that.
So there you go.
But anyway, about yours, like I was saying, like everybody, he's gonna come in. He's the new thing in town. Like we always talk about on the show. The new recruit is the best recruit. Everybody loves the new toy over the old toy, even though the old toy is also a 5-star recruit as well. And he's been in the program for a year and he has a jump start, but everybody wants to see the new toy already. Well, I know it's cliche. I know it's the thing that people hate to hear, but he's going to have to earn it. Like the concepts of a college playbook versus a high school playbook are light years apart. He's going to have to come in there and earn it. And I don't think Ryan Day, and especially the way the team is set up this year, is going to roll the dice and say, hey, high school senior, come in here and run my offense. And just say, all right, even though I got guys that have been running my offense for over a year now. Like, do I think he's going to get some snaps? I think he's going to get a lot of snaps because from all intents and purposes, we're going to get a regular season. We're going to get a regular college football season. So we're expecting a lot of blowouts and things of that nature. So I'm sure he's going to get some snaps, but I'm not going to jump out the window and say like, all right, this kid is going to come here and take it. And because he's making 7 figures, he should take it because, what if CJ Stroud wins the job, goes out there, handles business against Minnesota, and then on that good noon kickoff versus Oregon puts up crazy numbers too. Who's to say he doesn't earn another 7 figures because he's a starting quarterback at Ohio State? Who's to say it's enough money to go around for everybody? Like if people out here paying dudes, everybody can get paid. You want the backup getting paid, the backup to the backup getting paid, the starter getting paid. I'm with it all.
How about, with that being said, I mean, you go back to the Clemson season, their first year with Trevor Lawrence, and there's the reason I keep bringing that name up is because that's what this is the next Trevor Lawrence. This is the next big thing. You said, you have to earn it. I don't think he has to earn it. I think he has to lose it. You mean to tell me if he comes in and I know what you're saying, and we're basically saying the same thing. Like he has to prove he can do it. And that's a given for McCord. That's a given for everybody. I mean, everyone has a chance to earn it. But at the same time, remember a few years ago, I remember a friend of mine that knows Urban Meyer real well, talking to Urban Meyer saying, they knew Dwayne Haskins was, all this talk of, it's Joe Burrow has a chance to earn it at the spring game and all that. Urban knew, they have to say those things. Like Urban, golfing with this individual I know real well, said way before they even got to the spring game, it's Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne, everyone knew it was Dwayne Haskins. Joe Burrow didn't have a shot to win that at the spring game. I don't even know what the hell you could do at a spring game to prove anything. It's a freaking spring game. Let's be real. I remember that year, everyone hyped it up. Joe Burrow has a shot here. It's a very important spring game. First of all, if you lose your job to somebody in a spring game, then you weren't holding on to that job very well to begin with. So
and to prove your point, Joe Burrow had a very good spring game, and Dwayne Haskins did not have a very good spring game. So it's not about the spring game; it's about the spring practices that we don't see.
And so the game itself really was irrelevant. But the point is that like the coaches know. I bring that up because the coaches kind of know heading in who's their guy. They already know, they know who they want it to be. But you have to go and let it play out and see if hopefully, I want it to be CJ Stroud. So hopefully CJ Stroud grows into what I'm expecting. And if not, then we have to go a different direction. So we could sit there and say, he has to go earn it. Yes, but who do the coaches want? And it's an embarrassment of riches. It's a very it's a very cluttered quarterback room, very talented, but it's even more cluttered and even more talented right now. And my point is that there's more at play here than just this upcoming season, because who you roll with this year is going to be your quarterback for the next 2 or 3. This is the first time in a while since that. I mean, look what's happened since Joe Burrow left Ohio State. Played 2 years at LSU. He won a national championship. He won a Heisman. He's been drafted number 1 overall. He's already gearing up for his second season in the NFL. That's the last time we really didn't know what the quarterback situation was going to be for the Buckeyes. So you could say, well, there was the Tate Martell, Justin Fields. No, the second Justin Fields arrived on campus, it was his job. There was no, he had to earn it. He had to do all that stuff. It was his job. This is the first time since Joe Burrow was a Buckeye. Bounced. Yeah.
He didn't even challenge him for it, and that's something that I want to see out of CJ Stroud, Jack Miller, and other guys in that room. Like, okay, the new hot shot is coming in. Let's not make it easy for him. Like, even if coach wants to give him the job, we're not going to give it to him. Basically, how Tate Martell just gave it up, just for lack of a better word, gave it to him. So even if the coaches do want him, let's make him prove it. We're going to make sure he's as good as he can be. Because we're going to play up to our potential. That means if coach picks him, he's playing to his potential, if his potential is better than ours. That's all I want to see. I don't want to see guys just mailing it in and anything like that.
Nope, absolutely. And last thing here, because we're going to open up the phone lines, 518-1410 to open up the top of the hour. Oh, it's 4:48. It's 4:40. I thought, we were, it's what it is. Oh, there you go. So you know what you're doing. My point is this. When it comes to this Quinn Ewers situation, I'm fascinated by it. And at the end of the day, this is going to be a situation where we're going to find out just how powerful the name, image, and likeness powers that be are. Because it's one thing to give your money to a kid, but at the same time, they're giving the money to a kid with the expectations of playing. If this kid has close to $1 million in name, image, and likeness money coming in, not all from one, but that's a lot of money coming in from somewhere. And I'm sure that they expect that kid to play. And I'm pretty sure Ohio State's so buttoned up that they follow the trail. They follow the money. Ohio State's been in contact with who's going to be giving money to this kid. You mean to tell me that there hasn't been conversations in that room about what they expect and about, listen, and this is where it gets dirty, and this is what's going to be exposed throughout this. We'll take care of him, and we'll take care of that number 1 wide receiver you want for that 23 class. Oh, you want that running back for 25? How about a couple defensive backs? We'll buy any player you want.
How about some linebackers? That's what I want.
Yeah,
I want linebackers.
The best that money can buy, right? But no, in all seriousness, you see what I mean? I have a hard time believing that Ohio State sitting in the room with these potential, endorsers aren't talking about expectations for, we'll do this, but we expect them to play.
This is SMU. This is SMU back in the 80s, man. You've never seen that 30 for 30.
How'd that work? How'd that pan out? Except it was,
Yeah, they were put on. They got the death penalty. But now it's legal, so it's all good.
Yeah, so the death penalty should be reversed, right? Isn't that how this works?
Hey, man, Eric Dickerson was a beast back in the day.
We'll be back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Staples Connect has everything for school at amazing prices. Now, Staples 2-pocket paper folders are just 15 cents. And comp books, 24-pack Crayola crayons, and 8 packs of Pep Rally No. 2 pencils are 50 cents each. So you won't just be ready for school, you'll be Prepared Parent of the Year ready.
I just want to thank my family and Staples for making this possible.
Visit your local Staples or staples.com/back-to-school and get more than ready for school. Ends 8/7. Limit 30 except no limit on pencils. Pocket folder offer in-store only.
Hey, y'all, this is your girl, Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge? For a coupon and daily support, sign up at Metamucil.com today.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
and Doug.
And we're back with Limu, Emu, and Doug for the final question. Category is things you climb.
All right, Limu, what do you think? You sure? We're going with Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Oh, so close. We were looking for stairs.
Huh.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
O'Reilly. Do you even remember the last time you changed your spark plugs? Well, then now's a good time. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase 4 or more select Iridium spark plugs. Put the pep back in your car. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or shop O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Staples Connect has everything for school at amazing prices. Now, Staples 2-pocket paper folders are just 15 cents. And comp books, 24-pack Crayola crayons, and 8 packs of Pep Rally No. 2 pencils are 50 cents each. So you won't just be ready for school, you'll be Prepared Parent of the Year ready.
I just want to thank my family and Staples for making this possible.
Visit your local Staples or staples.com/back-to-school and get more than ready for school. Ends 8/7. Limit 30 except no limit on pencils. Pocket folder offer in-store only.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Over the last year and a half, we all learned some hard lessons. One of the most important is that you can't put off the inevitable. Hi, this is Mark Davis at Dayton Memorial Park Cemetery and Mausoleums. No matter how hard it is to think about, we all need a final resting place. When pre-planning with your funeral home, please remember that cemetery arrangements must also be made. Call us today at 937-890-1831 or visit our website at DaytonMemorialPark.com. And remember, Dayton Memorial Park is a beautiful place to celebrate life. Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Hey, welcome to Everything Outdoors. Can I help you find anything?
Hey, yeah. Can you point us to the camping gear?
Sure, aisle 2.
Snowboarding? Just bought a new Nissan Pathfinder. It's got intelligent 4x4, and we want to hit the backcountry.
Aisle 18.
And the boats?
Are you sure you can do all this?
Up to 6,000 pounds towing, we're good to go. Oh, where's the scuba gear?
Return to rugged in the all-new 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. Available intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Towing capability varies by configuration. See Nissan Owner's Manual for proper use.
Staples Connect has everything for school at amazing prices. Now, Staples 2-pocket paper folders are just 15 cents. And comp books, 24-pack Crayola crayons, and 8 packs of Pep Rally No. 2 pencils are 50 cents each. So you won't just be ready for school, you'll be Prepared Parent of the Year ready.
I just want to thank my family and Staples for making this possible.
Visit your local Staples or staples.com/back-to-school and get more than ready for school. Ends 8/7. Limit 30 except no limit on pencils. Pocket folder offer in-store only.
Don't wait to get a new job. Express Employment Professionals is hiring for more than 35,000 jobs. Find your local Express office at expresspros.com or on the Express Jobs app.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
In the Army National Guard, soldiers serve part-time and close to home.
My community means everything to me. It helped shape me into who I am today and is where I choose to raise my own family. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from, and as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me succeed. The education benefits I got from serving helped me get my degree and jumpstart my career. The training and leadership skills I've gained from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people, help my neighbors, and look out for my community. I know that when my neighbors need us the most, my fellow soldiers and I will be ready. My family loves it here, and my part-time service means we get to stay here.
Serve part-time in the community you live in as a proud member of the Army National Guard. Talk to your local recruiter or visit nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard. Aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Greatness. It's not born of coincidence. It's not a product of luck. It's forged through dedication, drills, and the acquisition of new skills. Wanting won't get you there, but sweat equity just might.
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street wants to wish the Dayton Flyers Red Scare the best of luck in their journey through the basketball tournament. Wear red, be loud, go Flyers!
O'Reilly.
The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts will help with all your car care needs. Whether you're shopping for parts, accessories, or supplies, we've got you covered. Right now, get Superior Coverall Tire Shine 2 for $16. Plus, earn double O Rewards points. Keep your car looking like new. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Whether it's next day delivery or getting involved in their local communities, Napa goes above and beyond to serve you because their motor never quits. That's Napa know-how.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
Why are you gonna miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
I'm not very confident that Quinn Ewers will be the starting quarterback for the Buckeyes in 2021, or at least in week 1 against Minnesota, and most likely not even against Oregon. But I don't think it's that far-fetched to think at some point that he doesn't take over for the Buckeyes at some point, right? I think heading into that freshman season at Trevor Lawrence for Clemson, when Kelly Bryant was the quarterback, they were undefeated. They beat Texas A&M that year. Texas A&M was number 12 in the country. That was their big non-conference game. And that was them trying to figure out just who they were post Deshaun Watson. And then Dabo Swinney made the very ballsy move of sitting Kelly Bryant, who they won games with the year before and were undefeated with in Trevor Lawrence's freshman season. And in midseason, undefeated, top 10 team in the country, they make a quarterback change. And it worked out. They go on to beat Alabama in the national championship game. And I'm pretty sure that the Clemson boobs, like us being with Ohio State, were probably saying that there's no chance in hell that Trevor Lawrence, if he's not the starter in week 1, would be the starter at some point. The difference is I don't think that C.J. Stroud or Jack Miller or Kyle McCord is a Kelly Bryant. And Kelly Bryant was solid, but he's not. I mean, if we're talking about a caliber quarterback playing to Kelly Bryant's level, then that means you didn't have any legitimate 4 or 5 star quarterbacks. If that's the case, then I don't envision that being the problem. But what I do see shaking out here is, we say this all the time. I got mad about how many good seasons of Dwayne Haskins did Ohio State waste because of their loyalty to JT Barrett. How many, a championship for Alabama doesn't happen if they don't make the gutsy move of going to Tua Tagovailoa at halftime of a national championship game? Would Clemson have won that national championship, that first one with Trevor Lawrence, had Dabo not had the guts to make that move during an undefeated top 10 season after beating a top 12 Texas A&M team out of the SEC in their non-conference? Like, had those moves not been made, championships don't happen for Clemson or for Alabama. I don't know if this is that same situation. We won't know until the end of the season. We might know in a couple of weeks when he gets on campus. I don't know. Shaw brought up a good point in the comment section. He said to assume that he doesn't have the playbook already in front of him. I mean, it's going to be about how quickly he takes what he studies and brings out to the field. Very sharp kid, graduating freaking early in high school. The only reason the only reason he's able to do this is because he did all the work in the classroom, right? Yes, I love this story. I love this new storyline that's developing heading in. It's not the thing is, Ryan Day, I don't think there's a wrong move to be made. If CJ Stroud's your starting quarterback, you're in good hands.
Right.
But at the same time, I do think that CJ Stroud being the starting quarterback opens doors to vulnerability of potentially losing out on the best quarterback prospect since Trevor Lawrence. And we make fun of Georgia. Do you want to be Georgia? Do you want to be the Georgia that lets say above average quarterback and CJ Stroud be your quarterback for the next couple of years and be bounced to the college football playoffs while Quinn Ewers goes to win a national championship elsewhere? Or do you want to be winning the national championship with Quinn Ewers? It's all gambling. This is a good problem to have. The average Michigan doesn't have this problem. They don't even know if they have one quarterback, much less 4 or 5. So that's where I'm at with this. This is a good problem to have, and it's an exciting and fun one. I kind of like the stability of knowing who your quarterback is heading into a season, but, I can handle these fun from a sports radio host perspective. I love this. I'm all about this. This is good stuff. All I know is Quinn Ewers making close to 7 figures as the backup quarterback, maybe even third string, third on the depth chart. Money talks. We're seeing that in the SEC. I have a hard time believing that the guy making $1 million on this quarterback roster, if he's good enough to play, I think you have to play him, even if it's unorthodox. There's a lot of firsts happening in college football right now. So I think we have to throw out the out the conversation because there's nothing normal about college football right now. Horns down is now an SEC problem. The SEC has to decide, are they going to pick up the Big 12 rule of saying if you do horns down, it's a penalty? Because that was a Big 12 rule, not a Texas rule, even though they cried about it. So I'm just fascinated by all of this. I really am.
Oh, man, it's a ton. And it's exactly what you said, man. Everything that was ain't no more. Think about it. When the college football season ended back in January, we had a clear vision of what the next season was going to look like. We're going to have fans back in the stands, our conference arguing about we're better than another conference. We ain't even talking about that. We're not even talking about the games. We're talking about NLI. We're talking about college football, playoff expansion. We're talking about realignment. We're not talking about what actually goes on the field. We're not even talking about coaches on a hot seat, and that's always a hot button. We're not even talking about recruiting. We're talking about a dude. Technically, we're talking about recruiting, but we're talking about a recruit foregoing, quote unquote, or graduating early from high school to enroll early at Ohio State. And like you said, kudos to him for having his books in order to be able to do that. And don't think for one second that Ohio State wasn't aware of this, because miraculously they have a scholarship available.
Yeah, like this. Remember we talked about.
So this was something that was on the table. So they were aware, just in case he does, let's keep a spot open for the kid.
And they have to have a plan in place. There's a plan in place for this too. We talked about the SEC. Everyone was like about 12 days ago. The idea of Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC, we would have laughed at it. No way. No way that was going to happen. There's no way. There's no way that's going to happen. And yet here we are 12 days later, and the Texas is now an SEC team. Oklahoma is an SEC team. Holy smokes. Good for them. There's no way that happened quickly. It didn't happen quickly. There was reports that came out that said these conversations have been going on quietly behind closed doors for over 6 months. You mean to tell me that there hasn't been conversations about this possibility? Ryan Day didn't just wake up one day and check his phone and say, oh, look, Letterman Road just said Quinn Ewers is coming to Ohio State this fall. News to me. No, he knew. They all knew, and they all had a plan in place for this. That's why I'm not ruling out him being the starter. I don't think it's ideal. You might risk losing to Oregon. You might risk some bumps along the way as he maybe learns the game. But the problem is Tua Tagovailoa is not going to allow him to learn along the way. Trevor Lawrence isn't going to allow this kid to learn along the way. That's the unfortunate part. When you want to be compared to those elite college quarterbacks right out of high school, true freshmen, there's expectations that come with that. And I think that's the only thing. But 518-1410. 518-1410 is the number to call in. Kev, start us off. Who we got?
We got Steve.
Steve, how are you, sir? Thanks for holding.
I'm good, guys. You said that Texas, the state of Texas, does not allow high school kids to make money off their, license and image. Is that for all states? You guys know?
I don't know. I'm assuming that's not the case.
That's not the case. I know some states do, some states don't, and Texas is one of those that don't allow the high school athletes to make money off their name. That's why he actually, decided to graduate early and enroll in Ohio State.
What about agents in high school? Are they allowing them to have agents in high school now, or do you know that?
That I do not know.
If it's a matter, can you have agents in college? Can you have agents in college?
I have.
Well, they're making money now. But the first name that popped into my mind when you're talking about Ewers and everything was Arch Manning. How would you like to be Arch Manning?
Quinn Ewers is laying out he's laying out a path for Arch Manning right now. He might be enrolling as a junior somewhere and just doing online high school classes, getting prepared. You never know.
But I'm just thinking, his name, his pedigree. He's a 4-star guy already. State championships. How much money do you think he's going to be worth by the time he walks into college?
Oh, not very much.
Commas.
Yeah.
Multiple commas.
But yeah, I think the whole age high school college sports has changed forever. There's no doubt about it. But I do as well find this whole high school leaving early, going to college thing really interesting. No one's job is going to be safe, pretty much. You know what I mean? Transfer portal is going to be blowing up every year for sure. But anyway, guys, you take care. I'm getting ready to tee off.
Hey, I'm jealous. Where are you golfing? Hold up. Take me with you. Where are you at?
Sugar Isle.
Ah, very nice. I haven't golfed there. I haven't golfed in 2 weeks. I'm having withdrawals. If you didn't notice, I just really quickly reacted to that. I jolted up in my seat. Golf, I'm jealous of you right now. But hey, I appreciate the call, man.
You take care.
Take care, Steve. All right, 45 or no, that's the old number. The new number, 518-1410, 518-1410. And by the way, Bengals fans have ticked me off again already, so I'll get to that in a moment.
Focus.
They're mad because their quarterback's sucking the training camp right now. They're going to be mad at me. All right, talking Ohio State. We're talking about one of the best quarterbacks out there in Quinn Ewers. We'll get to the bad ones coming up here in a moment. Quinn Ewers, a Buckeye. Earlier than expected. Number 1 quarterback prospect in the class of 22, all of a sudden enrolling early and could potentially play as early as 2021. Potentially as early as 2021. He could potentially be playing in a month.
Crazy.
Go from planning prom to planning freshman homecoming at Ohio State. How about that? Good for you, buddy. Good for you. Things are going well. Who's up next on the phone, Kev?
We got Matt.
Matt, how are you, sir?
Doing well. How are you?
Good, man. What you got for us?
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth. I think when you consider the Ewers situation, you got to look for comparables. Mm-hmm. And Ewers is rated 1 point behind Vince Young, and even with Trevor Lawrence. So as much as I hate Dabo, he handled the Trevor Lawrence situation so well that I don't know how you bench Ewers going into this season. You talked about Kelly Bryant, who won an ACC championship the year before, took Clemson to a playoff game, and then was benched 4 games into a season. I don't know how you bench
after beating Texas A&M, a premier non-conference opponent. That Texas A&M game, it was bigger for them that season with Trevor Lawrence sitting the bench than what this Oregon game is for Ohio State too. I'm not even sure how high Oregon is ranked coming into this season.
No, absolutely. And Dabo knew what he had in Kelly Bryant and knew that he could get him through those 4 games. And then they did him a solid by letting him transfer to Missouri by only using 4 games of eligibility, so he could just take a red shirt.
Yep.
But I don't know how you bench him when we don't know what Stroud has. We don't know if Stroud gets us through Minnesota on the road and then Oregon at home. So I feel like you got to go with the talent because, like you said, you cannot afford to beat Georgia with Jake Fromm and let Justin Fields walk when Ewers is a higher rated talent than even Fields.
Right. I know Justin Fields never went on to win a national championship, but again, you look at how dominant he was. Every time he had a big game or Ohio State won a big game, it was a bad look for Georgia. And I think that's a bad look for from the sounds of it, you're Ohio State, you're going to get more Jack Millers, you're going to get more McCords and possibly CJ Strouds. If you mishandle this situation right now with Ewers, I don't know if you get another Ewers, and I don't think you want to be the team that messed that up. I think Georgia's kicking themselves. They had a national championship in the palm of their hand if they had Justin Fields probably, and they didn't pull it off. So I don't know if Ohio State, that's a big gamble. If they want to be loyal to the guy that's been around for a while, if Ryan Day wants to be Urban Meyer and be loyal to a Fultz, fine, but you might be leaving a title on the table. Who knows?
100%. And Lawrence's only title is the one he won his freshman year. So if he's
Isn't that crazy?
Then Clemson might not have one.
One of the best college quarterbacks of all time, won the championship as a freshman, never won one after that, never even won a Heisman. Isn't that nuts? Aye. But good stuff, man. I appreciate the call. Thanks for being patient.
Appreciate you.
518-1410, 518-1410. Next up, Kev.
We got Mick.
Mick? How are you, Mick? Welcome. Mick or Nick?
We had Mick. He's gone.
Mick, hey. All right. Give us a call back, Nick or Mick or whatever your name is. Glad to take your call and dive into this more. But I find this fascinating. So the last caller, you have to start him. I mean, you don't have to do anything, but I mean, like, I agree with our last caller. I just think that and to be fair, and I think we'll have an idea of how legitimate he is, because I think that if you're even flirting with playing him, there's enough talent there to work with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if it even enters the conversation, Ryan Day is not going to say those things just to say them.
Right.
But also you have to ask, okay, well, if we're going to compare him to Trevor Lawrence was a near Heisman level winning quarterback as a freshman, won a national championship as a freshman. Tua Tagovailoa. I can't think of a more high pressure situation than being a freshman backup quarterback and the starter not getting injured and your coach saying, hey, Fresh, I know you were you were at prom last year, and here you are, halftime of a national championship game for Alabama. Go win us a national championship. I don't want to hear that there's too much pressure for Quinn Ewers, because if he is Trevor Lawrence, if he is as good as Tua Tagovailoa, if he is as good as Andrew Luck and every big college name quarterback out there, I don't think he gets a pass of, oh, well, there's a lot of pressure on him. Well, if there's a lot of pressure on him, that's okay. And he folds under that pressure as a freshman who's supposed to be in high school technically, right? But still the same age as what Trevor Lawrence and those guys were. I'm fascinated by this. I can't wait to see how all this unfolds. Either way, Ohio State, you have pretty good quarterbacks. It's a good problem to have.
Good problems. Coach Day was quoted as saying, we're going to need that entire room to be strong. Last time they won a national championship around here, it took several guys to win it. And I know that's probably what it's going to take to win it this year.
I love quotes. I love coaches. I mean, that's as coach's comment as it gets. And he's not technically wrong. And he's right. If you remember that year, the last national championship they won. I mean, think about how stable they thought they've been at quarterback. I mean, you went into season with Dwayne Haskins, who nearly won a Heisman, couldn't get it done. All right. You go the next year, you have Justin Fields. You think you have by the way, before that, you had JT Barrett. You're stable at quarterback, couldn't get it done. You have Justin Fields for 2 years, couldn't get it done. The 1 year you won a national championship, Braxton Miller was the starter heading in. JT Barrett as a freshman takes over. He goes out against Michigan. The guy that wasn't there to play school comes in to play quarterback of the Big Ten championship game and totally dominates and leads him to a national championship. That right there shows there's no blueprint to this.
Right.
So to sit there and say, like, this is what I hate about baseball. Baseball has dumbed the sport down, even though they pretend to be smart with all their advanced analytics. They pretend to be so, advanced in how they use analytics than every other sport, but yet they dumb the sport down. When this happens, do this. When this happens, do that. They dumb it down. With football, there's no blueprint. You have to. What I love about football is it's the coach's gut, and the coach knows what's best for the team. Dabo knew what was best for Clemson, starting Trevor Lawrence over Kelly Bryant, who led Clemson to a playoff appearance the year before, undefeated, taking him out. Tua Tagovailoa, it was Saban's gut. He knew he had to take a gamble. He took a chance, and he ended up working out. Ryan Day is going to have to. He's in that situation. He's in that same situation. Urban failed. He was loyal to JT Barrett, and it failed because I believe the Dwayne Haskins that we saw in 16 or whatever, that Dwayne Haskins would have led them to the playoff that year. Was a championship left on the table? I don't know, but they lost to Purdue, so it doesn't matter anyways. All right, so 518-1410. That's the number to call in. We're going to switch gears here. So I opened up the show, and I was nice.
Oh, boy.
The Bengals have been horrible offensively since training camp started. Now, you could sit there and get mad at me all you want for going here with this, but the bottom line is, as I said at the beginning of the show, no need to overreact. It's early in camp. But when you have one bad practice, I can overlook it. 2 bad practices, okay, it's still early. 3, I get it. It's still early. Kev, it's day 6 of training camp, and this is the report from Paul Dehner Jr. Actually, I'll have that report coming up for you on the other side. It wasn't good. It's not good, Bengals fans. And instead of being angry at your team, you take it out on me? You get mad at me? I don't understand y'all. I just don't. We'll be back in a moment. Not a good day at camp. In fact, Joe Burrow has not had a completion beyond 10 yards all day today. When should the concerns start brewing in Cincinnati? Because wasn't Zach Taylor, like, if of all the areas of the ball to not be concerned about, it should be the area of expertise of which you hired your 12-year-old coach, right? Like, that's the problem I have. We'll be back in a moment. Update from Bengals camp. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Your weather forecast: low tonight of 60 and partly cloudy, high tomorrow of 83 and mostly sunny. I'm Chris Harden for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane, making buying propane easy since 1952, offering budget billing and pre-buy options. Find out more at culletpropane.com.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, and our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed. The Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Help Center brings the courthouse to the community with its weekly outreach programs to local churches, libraries, and community centers. We help you navigate the legal system. Find a location near you at courthouse2u.com. Brought to you by Montgomery County Clerk of Courts, Mike Foley.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Some people believe their kids don't need to go to the dentist because baby teeth don't matter since they'll eventually fall out. Dr. David Kimberly, president of the Ohio Dental Association, is here to tell us more.
Actually, baby teeth are very important for your child's health and development. Healthy baby teeth help your child chew, speak, smile, and pay attention in school without the distraction of dental pain. Also, if a baby tooth is lost too early, the permanent teeth can shift into the empty space and make it difficult for the other permanent teeth to come in when they are ready. So it's critical to make an appointment for your child to see a dentist before going back to school.
ODA member dentists are located throughout the state, are dedicated to providing the highest quality care, are bound by the highest ethical standards, and obtain superior ongoing education and training. On your next visit, ask if your dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Are we ready for the 5:30 pickup?
Cam's courier service's newest hire delivered his resignation.
Hey, Ray, who's handling?
She now needs next day shipping on a new driver.
All these boxes here, are they ingoing or are they outgoing?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Napa know-how.
Right now, a 5-quart jug of Napa full synthetic motor oil is just $18.99. It keeps your engine from breaking down without breaking the bank. Yep, a 5-quart jug of Napa full synthetic for $18.99 is not just a great deal. It's the break you've been waiting for. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating locations does not include state local taxes or recycling fees. Advertised sales price may not be available in some states. Offer ends 8/31/21.
Hey there, it's CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger with an inside track on a company that could save your family over $800 a year on a basic service everyone needs, H2O Wireless. If you're with Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, H2O Wireless gives you the exact same coverage as one of those, but at half the price. That's right, H2O Wireless uses the same network, same towers. You can even keep your phone and number because switching is as easy as swapping a SIM card. Right now, get unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data for just $36 a month. And if you want a new phone, H2O Wireless has huge savings on the latest iPhones and Androids. Here's what you need to do. Pick up your phone and dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O. When you do, you'll save 50% off your first month. Again, dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O, and your family could start saving over $800 a year today.
Your business journey never stops. Neither does Dell Technologies. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL and do more with modern devices and Windows 10 Pro.
Want free Reds tickets? How about a free MLB Network Reds bag? Maybe a Reds bobblehead? Here's an idea. How about we combine them all together and give you a chance to win a free WING Reds prize pack presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Register daily at wingam.com. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Maybe it's because it's later in the evening and I'm a little hangry. I don't know, but I've lost my patience, so I'm done. I tried to be nice, Kev.
Oh, man.
I'm being accused of flipping my stance on this because soft crybaby Bengals fans, who I think, like, I have, for once, I didn't say anything to stir the pot here. I don't really believe in stirring the pot. I just believe that I know certain things if I put out there are going to get a reaction. And when I share reports that their team stinks, of course it's going to get a reaction. But don't blame me. Why don't you blame your quarterback for not being able to complete a pass further out than 10 yards? I didn't make that up. That's Paul Dehner Jr. reporting live from Bengals camp. I said at the top of the show, and we welcome you back, by the way. It's Justin Kinner hanging out with you here, Kev Nash. The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. And by the way, you want to defend your team, by all means. 518-1410. Don't be a keyboard warrior. Call in. Don't hide behind a screen with your little gifts and all that stuff, a little stir in the pot. Call in, defend your team. Call 518-1410, Bengals fans. Do your thing. Cry on the air instead of on Facebook. How about that? Where are you going?
I can't handle it.
Justin Kinner with you here. So here's the deal. At the beginning of the show, I stated that at the end of the day, it's early in camp, and there's no reason to overreact to reports coming from camp. However, this is the fifth straight bad day that the Bengals have had at camp to where, and again, I didn't make this report up. Paul Dehner Jr. tweeted this out, that nothing has changed today in regards to the progress of the team. It's another dominant day by the defense. And I don't know if it's a dominant day by the defense. Does bad offense mean your defense is good? I don't know. Baker Mayfield's having a great camp, and he has a 10 times better defense than the Bengals do. So, I mean, he has the best secondary in football that he's going up against, and yet he's completing deep pass after deep pass, short pass after short pass. He's doing it all. So Paul Dehner Jr. says that today at camp, Absolutely nothing is happening in the passing game. That Trey Hendrickson picked off Joe Burrow, and in fact, there's only been one completion of any note beyond 10 yards from Burrow. So my big question is this. At what point do you become just a tad concerned? I'm not overreacting to these reports from camp. I do believe Joe Burrow is capable of completing a pass further out than 10 yards. I believe it. I believe that even Joe Burrow with a bad organization, I believe he's even capable of doing that. I'm not saying that based on this report that he can't. But this isn't so much about the results of these passes. It's more so what's keeping this team from being in sync. Because my concern would be this. There are some things that you are allowed to be kind of slow in developing when it comes to coming into training camp. But when your coach is Zach Taylor, when the only reason that you are the head coach in the National Football League is because of your offensive scheme, and because you happen to rub shoulders and elbows with Sean McVay, that's supposed to be your secret sauce. So if your secret sauce is, of course, that, then I'm just curious why all of a sudden is this team just not syncing offensively? Like, this should not be the part you're worried about. This was supposed to be the part of your game that everyone was supposed to be bragging about and doing cartwheels over. Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase should not be not happening. Joe Burrow to Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. And by the way, I do not think I'm that crazy for pointing out the flaws in the offense that Paul Dehner Jr. and Jay Morrison and all the other great Bengals reporters out there who do a great job providing you reports from camp. I don't understand why when they tweet this stuff out, you don't get mad at them. You don't sit there and say, oh, Jay Morrison, more negativity. Oh, Paul Dehner Jr., more negativity. But when I share their reports, I'm stirring the pot. Huh? The only reason a pot could be stirred is if fools like you get upset about it. And if soft, sensitive fools like you didn't get upset about me pointing out that, hey, your quarterback's not completing passes further than 10 yards out, which, by the way, you should be mad at. You should be upset. And not at me. You're probably just angry because old Kidder over here is right. Now, again, I never said that Joe Burrow couldn't complete a pass further out than 10 yards. I just said that I don't think this team is as polished offensively as everyone thinks that they are. And I don't think they should get the benefit of the doubt, mainly because your head coach is an offensive guru, right? That's why he was hired. He wasn't hired because, he looks nice. And no, he was hired because he was supposed to bring this innovative offensive scheme to Cincinnati, which is perfect because you have Joe Burrow and you have T. Higgins and you have all these great guys. And then you have smartasses like Doug Toby over here who waste my time and say, oh, I'm so concerned it's spring football. Wow. Doug, if the reports were coming out that Joe Burrow just completed 10 straight passes of 40 yards or more and he has a couple touchdowns, you would be just rubbing it in my face, right? Right? You would want me to know. Those same reports from camp, when Joe Burrow starts completing passes at camp, are you going to not tag me in those and say, see, Kenner, you were wrong? But I thought camp wasn't important. Camp's not important, right? You guys are can't go there. Not allowed to name call. No, forget it. It's a loser mentality. Whenever training camp is only relevant when your team's playing well, but when your team's not playing well, it's just camp. It's just training camp. It's the time to get the wrinkles out. Well, you need a much bigger iron. Like, you're 5 days in, and it sounds like the reports are getting worse. Jake Whiting is my favorite. He's my favorite of all you Bengals fans because he's probably the most delusional, but he makes me laugh, so I like it. Jake Whiting says he's ahead of schedule coming off of an ACL injury, but yeah, Burrow is garbage. You're right. See, the sensitivity thing, you're a sports snowflake. You are a sports snowflake. You're a sports snowflake, Jake, because all I did was question how many days into camp of bad practices can they have before you are concerned? So instead of Bengals fans answering that question, you resort to the dramatic, it's only training camp. Oh, yeah, he's coming off of an injury, so that just must mean he's trash. I never said that. You're a sports snowflake if me asking how many bad days of training camp can happen before you become a little concerned. If that triggers you, you're the problem, not me. If it bothers you that I ask a simple question about training camp being how many bad days at the office consecutively have to happen before you are concerned. Not one of you have answered the question. And by the way, you're all full of crap if you think that the answer is 0. So you mean to tell me that 2 weeks into camp of Joe Burrow not being able to complete a pass further out than 10 yards, you mean to tell me that you're just going to be like, it's just training camp, where you get prepared to play, where you actually get prepared to play? This is the opportunity to get better. And it just seems like it's day after day after day. It's the same report. They're running in place. They're like the Cincinnati Reds in the NL Central standings. They're running in place, except the Reds are winning. There's that. Jake Whiting says, because that's what you just said an hour ago. What I said an hour ago was that it's too early to overreact. I'm not overreacting to anything. What I am pointing out is that it's a little concerning, though, that for the 5th straight day, it's the 5th same straight report. You mean to tell me that doesn't bother you? Why are you not on my side on this, Bengals fans? Why are you not saying, Kenner brings up a good point. Zach Taylor's an offensive-minded head coach. How come our offense is the problem right now? And don't say, well, and then my favorite, I saw another Bengals fan comment on my Facebook post a little bit ago saying, well, the defense is always ahead of the offense. Oh, okay. The defense is always ahead of the offense. I agree. The defense is really good for the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't agree. There's some weapons. But if you think, Baker Mayfield's having a kick-ass training camp. He's doing awesome. And he has a way better secondary. And how the hell did Hendrickson intercept a pass, by the way? That's like Myles Garrett intercepting a pass. How the hell did Trey Hendrickson intercept a Joe Burrow pass?
Zone blitz.
My goodness.
Zone blitz, tip pass. A million things could have happened.
Sports snowflakes. It's what you all are. Yeah, you missed a lot.
Walk in on?
That's what you get.
Is that legal to say? I don't know if that's PC, man.
But either of the names that they're calling me. Josh Nichols says, I'm just happy Burrow is in pads. They are. Oh, here we go with the, by golly, rainbows, butterflies, and sunshine. I'm just happy. Oh, I got to do the voice. The Bengals voice is making a comeback. Here we go. Give me some music.
Oh, no.
Give me some music. I need some music. Bengals fans, you did this. You did this. I was nice about your team. And the question I asked, let me bring Kevin on this. All I asked was, it was another bad report from camp. Joe Burrow has not completed a pass further out than 10 yards all day today. I asked, and I meant this legitimately based on our conversation for the first hour. I said, how many bad days at the office consecutively do you have to have before you start getting a little concerned? I even said in there, I said, I know it's early and I'm not overreacting to anything, but like, at what point do you start getting a little concerned? And then they just unleashed. The sports snowflake capital of the world is in Cincinnati, Ohio, and they are in Dayton, apparently. My goodness, you fans are unbelievable. Well, David Shaw is doing the blood pressure pill medicine. Yes. I completely get it. Now, so Josh Nichols says, I'm just happy that Burrow is in pads. They are taking it easy. they're taking it easy on Burrow. Hendrickson just intercepted him. I was worried that he wouldn't even play in week 1 when I saw that injury last year. If he's 100%, and they said he was, if they sign off on him to play, if you are on the field, play. And if you're injured and not capable of playing because of the injury, then don't play. But I'll never get the doctor say he's 100% ready to go. But then when he struggles, it's, well, remember, he had that injury. Oh, okay. 100% or not? Is he 100% or not? Jake Whiting, I was just wondering why all of a sudden, because another report came out, you flipped your take. That's all. It's still all love. I don't know why you're so fired up, Kenner. I'm not fired up. I just don't like dealing with sports snowflakes. Sports snowflakes who can't handle criticism of their team when you're defending a team and a quarterback that can't complete a 10-yard pass in practice. My goodness. That's even worse when Josh Nichols on Facebook just said, well, they're taking it easy on him. If they're taking it easy on him and you still can't complete a pass further than 10 yards, that's a little alarming. Doug Toby. It's just a play to make our lame defense feel good about themselves. Okay. So what you're saying, it's sympathy. The offense is so good that they don't want to make the defense. Doug, I can appreciate that. So Doug Toby says that it's all a mental game by the offense.
It's all a ruse.
They're taking it easy. What they're really doing is taking it easy on the defense. They want I remember this growing up when I would play video games and my dad would play against me, and when he beat me, it would tick me off. But then when I would beat him in a game, I was so pumped. Oh, I just beat my dad in a video game. Oh, I let you win. Oh, I'd be so ticked. And that's what Bengals fans are doing right now. Oh, well, the offense, they're not bad. They're letting you win. They're letting the defense win. Nah. Nope. The offense needs to get it together. And I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier. I do not think that there's anything to be overly concerned about. But I do think that there should be some concern if for 5 straight days at training camp that the offense can't seem to get anything going. Kevin, let's have a serious conversation.
Sure.
Trolling tone. I'm going to take my trolling tone away. It's Justin Kinner with you live here on 1410 Wing AM. Another rough day at training camp for the Cincinnati Bengals. 5 straight days now. Should that be a concern? Kev Nash, we'll go to you. Yes, you should. I didn't mean to answer for you, but that's the only legitimate answer. Yes. All right, I'm serious now.
You want to have your good days and you want to have your rough days. You want to have a little bit of both. You want to have reports coming out that the defense got the best of the offense, and then you want to have that follow-up day, especially that follow-up day that the offense got the better of the defense. Kind of like, they got you, now it's our turn to get you back. You want that back and forth. You don't want either side of the ball basically being dominant all the camp. If you're out here, several days going 10 for 10 offensively and big plays are all made all over the field, that's concerning for the defense. And then vice versa, if there's tons of batted balls, tons of touch sacks, tons of interceptions from the defense, that's also bad. So you want a back and forth, and right now we're not seeing a back and forth. We're seeing it landslided one way. The team that I follow, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm getting what I want out of the reports from training camp. I'm seeing or reading a lot of back and forth. I'm seeing a lot of we're seeing some good plays made by the defense, some good plays made by the offense. That ideally, that's what you want. And currently, we're not seeing that out of the Bengals reporting everything that's going on. So hopefully, for the Bengals' sake, next week, pads are on and everything like that, you start seeing it the other way. Hopefully, the offense starts making some more plays.
Yeah, and that's, look, I haven't flipped my stance on this. My question was very simple. I thought I even dumbed it down for even Bengals fans to understand. It was a simple question of how many bad practices in a row have to happen before you start becoming a little concerned. I even prefaced it with, I know it's early and there's no need to overreact, but how many bad days of practice do you have to have before you start to get a little concerned? That's all. That is mainly my biggest takeaway of all of this. You could be upset and angry. I feel like it's just because, it is what no one's, Paul Dehner Jr., he tweets this out. No one's mad at him. No one says, oh, Paul Dehner Jr.
I'm sure there are.
Reporting the negative. Well, sometimes you can only report what's in front of you. But snowflake sports fans, they want to be told that it's all great and it's all snowflakes and sunshine, which gets rid of the snowflakes. So there you go. So Josh Nichols says 6 isn't enough at all. He needs 7. So tomorrow, when they have another bad practice, is it going to be 8? Are we going to keep moving that goalpost back? You know how the Reds, you'll get free pizza if they get 11 strikeouts?
Nice.
You get free pizza if he completes an 11-yard pass. Cincinnati promotion. Nothing? Not even a chuckle?
No, I'm reading. Sorry.
All right. It is what it is. But Bengals fans, you did it. Even on a day I had no intentions of going here. And honest to goodness, I swear to Allah, I have no issue with the Bengals struggling in camp early. None. But I do think you have to be a little concerned at the fact that the offense is just still not getting it going. They're not even improving. That's all. We'll leave it at that. But tomorrow, come at me with better material, people. Don't come at me with, oh, well, he's coming off of an injury, because I probably don't. And also, I don't want to hear it's just training camp, because I promise you, if the reports were opposite, Kev, and Joe Burrow is, it's his 14th 40-yard bomb of the day, you would be letting me know. You'd be tagging me in the tweets. You'd be posting him on the page. You'd be calling me every name in the book. See, you were wrong. But when Kinner's right, it drives you nuts. You hate it. So there you go. Brian Hetzel. And by the way, this kid right here is one of the biggest sports snowflakes of them all. It's unbelievable. I think him and Schlapp, they'd be the tag team champions. If they were in WWE, they'd be introduced as the sports snowflake tag team. They would rule. They would dominate. They would be the tag team champions right off the bat. He said that with a straight face. Impressive. I said what with a straight face? That I was right? Because I was. This is also the same guy that told me that they drafted Jamar Chase because it would help block Joe Burrow. Well, hopefully he's blocking better than he's catching. We'll be back. I'll be in a better mood, hopefully. Maybe.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Tired of deciding what to cook tonight? Frickers is ready when you are with everyone's favorite ribs and frickin' chicken chunks. Tender baby back ribs and frickin' chicken chunks, only $12.99 dine-in only. Take the day off as kids 10 and under eat free every day. And you can relax and let Frickers take care of everything. Baby back ribs, frickin' chicken chunks, and kids eat free at the one place that makes lunch, dinner, or late night easy. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Baby back. Baby back.
Do you have an old sports program, baseball, photo, ticket, or game-used equipment just collecting dust? Sports Investments wants to buy your sports memorabilia. They're also interested in old sports cards and also buying political, aviation, and entertainment items. Bring your collectibles to Sports Investments and get a fair value on the spot. If you decide to sell, they'll pay you immediately. Sports Investments is the largest buyer of memorabilia and cards in the area since 1993. Sports Investments also feature the best selection of autographed memorabilia, sports cards, and other collectible items for sale, including all your favorites like Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Bengals, the Browns, the Big Red Machine, UC, XU, UK, NKU, UD, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, just to name a few. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email Adam at sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Hi, folks, it's me again, and I'm cooking in the sun just like you are. But you know, you can still plant those trees and shrubs right now, and with proper watering, still gain a full summer's growth. We keep our garden center fully stocked all summer long with thousands of good, healthy trees, shrubs, evergreens, perennials, and annuals, because we know that some folks just can't get it all done in the spring. Also, this time of the year, there are lots of bargains all over our 6-acre nursery and greenhouses. We have potted rose bushes as low as $8.95, flats of annuals starting at $8.95, and hanging baskets starting at $6.95. We still have a great selection of Rose of Sharon, boxwoods, hydrangeas, and barberry, and lots of ponds, pottery, and statuary. So come on out to 1309 Brand Pike, and remember, we're open 7 days.
Welcome to the 54th National Tractor Pulling Championships Reloaded, the largest truck and tractor pull in the world with 11,000 reserved seats and 2,100 campsites. Watch pullers from across the world compete for the coveted NTPC Championship ring. Rich in history, home to hospitality. Experience the power of the pulls. August 19th, 20th, and 21st in Bowling Green, Ohio. Purchase your tickets today.
The Meyer Distribution Center in Tip City is hiring for warehouse positions in all units, which include flexible schedules, best-in-class benefits, enhanced starting wages, and $1,500 sign-on bonus. Apply online at jobs.meyer.com. Keyword search distribution. Location Tip City. Or call 937-669-9109. 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. Walk-in interviews are also available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Call 937-669-9109. Meyer is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey there, it's CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger with an inside track on a company that could save your family over $800 a year on a basic service everyone needs, H2O Wireless. If you're with Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, H2O Wireless gives you the exact same coverage as one of those, but at half the price. That's right, H2O Wireless uses the same network, same towers. You can even keep your phone and number because switching is as easy as swapping a SIM card. Right now, get unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data for just $36 a month. And if you want a new phone, H2O Wireless has huge savings on the latest iPhones and Androids. Here's what you need to do. Pick up your phone and dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O. When you do, you'll save 50% off your first month. Again, dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O, and your family could start saving over $800 a year today.
Great values are happening now during Lowe's Pro Summer Savings. Get values across the store, including tools, appliances, and other pro essentials. Lowe's, the new home for pros.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on the Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, we welcome you back. We got Reds baseball coming up later on tonight. Reds and Twins, 7:10 the first pitch, 6:40 the pregame right here on Dayton's home of the Cincinnati Reds, 1410 Wing AM. Tomorrow the Reds play at 12:30, so the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash will be, we'll come at you in progress following the game. So we'll usually be on probably around 4:30, between that 4:30, 5 o'clock window, immediately following the Reds post game, right here on 1410 Wing AM. So hopefully the Reds have a couple more victories under the belt. I feel like they're just running in place. They're playing really good baseball right now. They took 2 or 3 from the Cubs, 2 or 3 from the Mets, which that's a huge series win. I mean, to win, they should have swept them, but David Bell, and by the way, I'm going to preface it with this so the sports snowflakes don't get upset. David Bell has done a fantastic job with this group, but David Bell lost them the game in game 2. They should have swept the Mets. And you could sit there and say, yeah, but he's done a great job all season. Well, as the manager, it's your job to make sure that your team wins. And he cost him a game. And when we're talking about 4 games out of the wild card, 7 out of the division, remember that when we come 1 game out of the playoff spot, those add up. So that's all my concern is. Again, I'm being dramatic there. It won't be on David Bell, but that's why that loss is so crucial. A 6-game winning streak all on the road, by the way, sweeping the Cubs and the Mets. That's huge. But they just did all of that. And they're still 7 games back. They are still 4 games back of the wild cards. They're just running in place, which is better than falling. I get that. It's better than dropping in the standings. But, man, it's like you were working so hard just to look up and realize, wow, we just did all that and it didn't do a thing. I think I'm worried about the mental toll that it's going to have on this team as time goes on, Kev, because you're playing some of your best baseball right now. Your bullpen is looking drastically different with the way that David Bell is using these guys. So that's awesome. But at the same time, how much mental toll will it take on this team as we get closer to the end of the season? I mean, we're already a week into August now. You've won a ton of games. You made a splash at the deadline. You drastically improved your biggest weakness. And it's kept you in the conversation, but it hasn't taken you to that next level. And that's the unfortunate part. I would just hate to see what as memorable as this season has been for them to come up short just on the outside looking into the playoffs. But there's still a lot of baseball left to be played. But, man, they've played really good ball, and they're running in place. That's my concern.
So much for the Brew Crew having a tough schedule.
That's why I don't buy into that. Like, it's a perk to have an easy schedule down the stretch, but to sit there and say our schedule is easy, theirs is hard, we got this, that's That's where I'm
right.
having a hard
I
time
mean,
buying it.
because as good as baseball is, the Reds are playing, they're playing better. They're playing tougher competition. Well, not even tougher competition. Like you just said, they beat the Mets, who are, a good baseball team, but, they're also handling their business, them being the Brew Crew and everything like that. So, for the Reds, they just got to keep at it. Keep at it. Don't worry about what they're doing. Stay focused on what you got going on. And hopefully, the Brew Crew will start dropping a couple of those harder games that everybody loved to tell us about.
Yeah, well, the good news is they got the Pirates coming up, and everyone was bragging about the 16 games with the Pirates that they have remaining. So there is that. All right. So an update. We talked about the update from Bengals camp. Not good. I'm done harping on it. But this was from Paul Dehner Jr. Talking about another dominant day by the defense. I don't know if it's a dominant day by the defense or just bad offense, but he said absolutely nothing happening in the passing game. Trey Hendrickson actually picked off Joe Burrow, and there's been only one completion of any note beyond 10 yards from Burrow. Still a little shaky offensively. Still a lot of things to work on, which is totally fine. But all I simply asked, and it turned into World War III when I said, it's way too early. This is verbatim what I wrote. It's way too early in camp to overreact to these reports. But how many more bad days at the office before Bengals fans start getting concerned? It was a legitimate question. And right away, just coming at me, bringing up the Browns, bringing up Baker, which I'm glad you asked about how Baker's doing. Baker's doing fine, actually. Here's the report from Jake Trotter, covers the Browns for ESPN. On the first day of pads, the offense came out on fire. Baker Mayfield connected with Donovan Peoples-Jones for a first down, then found Kadero Hodge, who left the DBs guarding him in the dust with a double move for a touchdown. So there you go. Now, I can't be a hypocrite here. I have to finish this. He goes, but that's when the defense settled in and began to dominate, beginning with John Johnson nearly picking off backup quarterback Kyle Luletta. So Baker Mayfield didn't nearly throw an interception. So there's that. Baker's having a fine camp. And as I said earlier, that means nothing. Having a bad camp is more concerning than... Well, actually, let me ask you this. What do you put more stock in? Teams who have a great camp or teams who have a bad camp? Which one should you... which one draws out more reaction? I don't care. And see, people... And you got to understand, fans, because I keep getting a lot of this. Well, the Browns went 4-0 in preseason the year that they went 0-16. Super. This isn't preseason games, though.
Right.
I don't care about preseason results, game results. That means nothing to me. You're talking about, you think I care about preseason game results when your starters are only going to play maybe a series? That doesn't mean anything. This is concerning because, Kev, this is where they're going to get better. They're not going to get better in preseason games. In preseason games, you're maybe playing a series.
Right.
That's why this is actually concerning more so than the preseason games themselves, because do you think that the offense gets better in the preseason when they play one series in preseason game one? Maybe just because you're a different look, maybe just kind of dipping your toe in the water, but that's it. I don't think that you're improving or not. I mean, there's a reason that even veteran quarterbacks don't even play in the preseason half the time. It's because it doesn't make you better or not. This is where you get better is in practice. So that's why I'm saying that this is concerning. Having a good camp, the Browns are supposed to be having a good camp. They were a playoff team last year. They spent a lot of money. They've revamped that defense. They're expected, to be one of the Super Bowl contenders. As weird and crazy and uncomfortable as that makes a lot of fans feel, that's the reality of it. Bottom line is this: I would put more stock into the flaws of the Bengals in camp one weekend than I would put the stock into the Browns' offensive success one weekend, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's all about practices, because just like we talked about earlier with the Ohio State spring game, like everybody the spring game. Well, it's about spring practice and what you're doing behind closed doors.
That's a great point. We talked about earlier.
Seeing. That's what it's all about. It's not about the actual game, because, in a game, especially a preseason game, you could be working on things. You could be basically taking your script from practice and working on things like, all right, let's just say they could play make believe. They can come out in the first drive of the game and say, all right, we're going to treat this as like a 2-minute drill because it's the preseason, because it doesn't count. And then you're out there obviously with players that aren't going to make the team. You're out there with scrambled lineups. You're out there with backups and things of that nature. So the preseason games, no, they have little to no effect on how you're going to actually be during the regular season. The practices are what really counts.
Yeah, so just a couple more updates here. And again, this is a stat for the Browns, or this is an update for the Browns that I don't put a lot of stock in, but it sounds good. It says if defensive players were allowed to hit the quarterback, Jadeveon Clowney today would have had 20 sacks at least. That seems dramatic. He was in the backfield on pretty much every play. So again, if I was I'm reading that and I'm like, that's good to hear. But if that doesn't mean anything if we get to the season and we also saw the video trending of him tripping over the pads. Like, did you see that video where he went he went for the tackling dummy and then he looked like the dummy laying on the floor as he tripped over the pad. So
down.
Yeah. So, and look, but those are good things to hear. That's what I mean by this. Does Jadeveon Clowney nearly having 20 sacks today? I'm sure he's being a little, exaggerating that if Jake Trotter covers the Browns for ESPN. But is that a good? Yes, I would rather those reports be coming out than what the Bengals reports are coming out, because sure, at the end of the day, Clowney may not have a great year for the Browns, but you want to at least know that your guys are playing at a decent level right now, 6 days into training camp, and the Browns are getting better each day. The Bengals seem to be getting worse. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's not me hating. That's common sense. I mean, Kev, if I was to say the same thing about Steelers camp, you wouldn't say, I'm hating. I would just say, hey, man, things aren't good. Big Ben struggling. He's not doing well. He's not having a good camp. You wouldn't say, oh, yeah, well, how are the Browns doing? Oh, yeah? What about Baker Mayfield? Oh, yeah? What about – no.
But that's just how I am. I don't stress
You're
about
not a sports snowflake like most Bengals fans.
I don't stress about other teams. I stress about my team. That's the only team I can focus on. I can't be focused on what other teams are doing in camp and reading up on them and getting all that. Yeah, obviously I do it for the job and everything like that, but I can only stress about one team, and that's my team's. So
Ron Howard says, you're forgetting there was no training camp last year. There was no training camp last year, and they looked fine. Well, Joe Burrow looked fine. The offense not so much, but they looked okay. Josh Nichols said, I should have went to training camp Saturday to debate you. All I've seen is some dope catches made by Chase and Higgins on Instagram. Okay, a lot to say there. First of all, there's nothing to debate me about. These are reports of what's happening. My opinion is not that Joe Burrow didn't throw a pass deeper than 10 yards. That's an actual fact. That is the reports from training camp. He did not complete a pass longer than 10 yards. That's not me saying that or thinking that or assuming that. That's what happened. Josh, there's nothing to debate me. What are you going to debate? And what does Saturday's camp have to do with today? This is a report from today's camp. What are you talking about? All I've seen is some dope catches made by Chase and Higgins on Instagram. Oh, you mean the team Instagram account that takes all the highlights from the day and puts them all together and then feeds you that? Well, of course. They're not gonna include in the highlight reels all the interceptions and all the dropped catches and all the drop passes and everything and all the overthrows and underthrows. I think that social media intern would be fired if they did that, Kev.
Absolutely.
So Josh, a reporter tweets out the facts of what actually happened at practice, and you're coming at me saying I would love to be there to debate you. There's nothing to debate. It's what happened. It's not even my opinion that Joe Burrow didn't look good. It was an actual fact. He did not look good. The offense as a whole. All I've seen is some dope catches made by, oh, well, my God, if you saw it on Instagram, then my goodness, it just has to be true. We're out of time. We'll do this again tomorrow. Reds baseball tonight, 7:10, your first pitch. Until tomorrow, it's been the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.